are now listening to Mr. Z Blackneffect.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? All right, my apologies for the lateness. Y'all already know Reckless streams rules in effect. Reckless streams rules in effect. Okay, so we will be reviewing Ask a Brother podcast. Shout out to Jeff St. James, Mumia, Obsidian Ali, and Darwin McPherson. So Darwin, Obsidian, and Jeff St. James. They had a conversation a couple days ago, if I'm not mistaken, or at least maybe a day ago. I caught it. I listened to the whole thing, but there are certain parts I want to clip out as the leftist men, right? So let's get into it before I start playing clips. Mr. Z claims left. Now, you can see off of Jeff St. James' face, he could barely hold it together. Shout out to Jeff St. James. I don't know what's going on in the brother personal life. I'm pretty sure it's crazy. I'm almost certain it's linked to what he's attempting to do via social media and the internet. My prayers are with you. I can see it on your face, right? Right. So I will say this. This idea that the conservatives or the Republicans have a monopoly, and I'm going to try really hard not to quote unquote party gangbang. I think I should put this out here first. Mr. Z has voted in every presidential election since I've been able to vote. All right, number one. Number two, I haven't voted for president in the past 3 elections. Right? So, in other words, I either wrote in a name that wasn't on the ballot or I left it blank for the past 3 elections. Okay, so we got that. This idea that you hear, particularly with maybe centrists, but definitely those that skew a little bit more to the right, men, of course, that the Republicans have a monopoly on manhood and there's no men on the left. That's very interesting coming from us as black men or individual black men when we have an issue when black women say stuff like that. When black women do a real man, if you can understand when a woman says a real man and then she begins to describe this fictitious man that essentially is perfectly aligned with what she's attempting to do, what she wants to do, what she's saying, then it shouldn't be too difficult or a stretch to appreciate that when we start saying that on the left, there's no real men, then I'm asking every single black man who claims any type of conservative or Republican or anything right of center, who's the man on the right? Particularly black men, but outside of elite, rich white men, who are the men on the right? That's a real question. I'm not trying to be funny. Who are the men on the right? You see, you awfully quiet. I know. That's a real question. Mr. Z's not trying to be funny. If the right wants to claim monopoly on manhood and masculinity, fine. Who are the men? Is it the men that are secretly getting money from elite rich white men to do their bidding? Y'all forgot that CK was getting money? Uh-oh. Is it the ones who are doing the bidding For the Russians, Jeff St. James. Huh? Uh-oh. So if we are to understand the panel, I'm gonna play it again. The left is full of astroturf. I agree. But the right is full of grassroots, homegrown ideology, podcasts, entertainers, talking heads, and pundits. Everything coming from anything left of center is coming from on high. It's the elite, yitch made men. And Jeff St. James, you didn't use the words, but you pretty much said that. I'm just saying. We're both black men here. We're similar age. We both know when somebody calling somebody a yitch. Huh? If I'm to understand this correctly, the left is full of yitches, but the right is full of tough as nails men. Yeah. My question to black men in specific that claim anything right of center, which one of y'all are the real men over there in comparison to the white men over there? Ooh. Ooh. Uh-oh. That's a real question. Don't answer all at once. Those of you who are students of history, y'all will be the ones that hesitate to answer that because y'all know what Mr. Z is saying and implying and suggesting. I didn't say whether your actual organs work. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not speaking about whether you got muscles, biceps, triceps, six pack, could lift 250 pounds, 300 pounds, 350, 400 pounds. That's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you which one of you are the real men over there? And do you get to be a real man over there when white men are in the room? I'm asking a very specific question. Huh? Oh boy. So I'm doing this for a reason. Mr. Z claims left. I appreciate the weirdos that are under the tent with me. I get it. And on my channel, what I do is challenge all that weirdo stuff they talking. And on my channel, I challenge us not to get so steeped in the culture war. We start drifting into things and advocating for things that end up biting us in the rear end in the long run. So you win the culture war, but you still don't got no job. Uh-oh. You win the culture war, but we still got a gigafied economy, no health care, and tariffs and stagflation are making your financial situation even worse. Uh-oh. But a whole lot of rich elite people just got more rich and more elite. Huh? The women are on our program, but both of us don't got nothing. Uh-oh. Fine. Thanos snap. Black women are on our program, but we still don't got no damn money. Ugh. Real difficult to pay with pennies. Huh? Do y'all even know who what Curtis Yarvin is on? And Peter Thiel? Huh? Mark Andreessen and them? Elon Musk? Nobody? No. So we just gonna keep talking culture war stuff and not paying attention to the billionaires and their ideology. Okay. Huh? We'll speak about the astroturf coming from one side. If you check my community tab, when we found out that on the right, they were getting outside money From the Russians, Mr. Z posted it. When we found out on the left that they getting money from the Democratic committee, I posted it. Not that somebody shamed me into posting it. Not someone said, Z, I see you said this, but you didn't say that. Huh? Yeah. Uh-oh. And Ross says, we don't need to beg the white man for money. We're not begging them for money. We're telling them give us our just due. We're tax-paying citizens also. We contribute to this country also. Your money is not separate from them. There's no air quotes black money. The money's not separate. They're hoarding the money. They're like 60% of the population. They got like 84% of the money. That means they even screwing over the East Asians y'all keep on using as an example. Yes, white folks are like 60% of the population. They got like 84%, 85% of the money. That means that's a whole lot of people of color, black people, being screwed. You're not gonna LLC Twitter your way out of that. You're not gonna entrepreneurship your way out of that. I said this when it got passed with that big beautiful bill. Trump made the tax cuts for the elites. He made that permanent. The tax cuts that everyday people are going to get, that expires in 4 years. That expires in 2028 or 2029, something like that. That's the game these folks are playing. So I understand what you're saying, Raw. And as a man, I get it. As a black man, I get it. But that ego will have black folks starving. It's a real dangerous game they playing. Huh? It's a real dangerous game they playing. You see, they want white women to have their babies. They want white women to have children, but they not coming off the money. So even white women giving your average white man and even your elite white man the middle finger. Not when they're with the elite white man. I'm saying if they gotta end up with your everyday white man. 400 and $450,000 homes, and your median individual income is 43,000. On average is 64,000, and these people ain't coming up off the money. And you think your everyday white woman, your metropolitan white woman, is going to have 2, 3 kids for these people? It's not going to happen. Huh? Even the conservative white women not going to be coming up off the babies like that. They're not going to be producing babies left and right. Even the conservative white women. With what money? Oh, I get it. They're supposed to still have the children and resign themselves to be in working class and working poor, and if they lucky, lower middle class for eternity. Yeah, that's it. Huh? Oh man. So this is not really an attack on any of the brothers on the panel, but what I am saying is we got to be careful with the culture war stuff. Y'all hear Z talk. I would argue one of the reasons why my channel hasn't blown up and probably never will is because I am sensible on the left. I'll pat myself on the back for that one. I am sensible on the left, and I do the macro social math. Well, okay. Well, if we add the one, carry the two, okay. This don't work. The equation don't come out. No, this don't work. Huh? The women don't get to have 1 foot in hypergamy and 1 foot in equality. They don't get to talk about egalitarianism and equity while wanting hypergamy secretly, sometimes not so secretly. Huh? Who coined the term patriarchy by feminist specifications? FD knew exactly what I was saying when I said that to him that first conversation, and he didn't deny it. He did not deny that that is what the masses of women are looking for, not the minority of leftist women that he's in community with. No, the masses of women, including black women. I would argue that's why Mr. Z's channel hasn't blown up. Because I would look Scott Galloway in the face and say, "You remember when you talked to A. Marie on Oprah's channel? Did you see the look on her face when you were telling her she might have to resign herself to being single, if not for a very long time, maybe a lifetime? You saw the look on her face? Yeah." What she was telling you without saying it in exact words, Mr. Galloway, was, "I did everything I was supposed to do. Where's my man? Where's the man that's taller than me, good looking, richer than me, that still kisses my ass? Where is he?" I would talk to Scott Galloway like he didn't know that's what Amory was saying. By the way, he did know that's what Amory was saying. That's why he told her, you might have to get comfortable with being single. And she died inside. Huh? So there are those of us that are sensible leftists, but of course we're not going to be foregrounded. Huh? Just like there are black conservatives who feel like they never really get a fair shake and they're pro-black and they're not stepping fetchits. Appreciate that there are sensible black men on the left, and we not out here kissing women's ass. We're not rainbow. We're not any lesser of men. But once we start getting into there's a dearth of real men over there, then you got to tell me who's the real men on the right, particularly black men. Who? Huh? Y'all saw Marco Rubio went to that wherever he went, forum he went to in Europe. Where was that? Brussels? Where was that he went? I listened to that whole thing. Marco Rubio, he kept saying Western, 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 white. Once again, where's the real men? Where's the real black men on the right? Marco Rubio ain't saying nothing about people of color and huh? You got the white Latino that went over there and said, "Hey, look, we share the same history. We're still Europe's child." These were his words. We're still the children. We're still the child of Europe. We share a history. Black people. Who he talking about? Black men. Who is he talking about? Huh? Well, damn. So I'm not just saying what I'm saying to get at Jeff St. James or Obsidian or Darwin. Shout out to them brothers. What I am saying is we might want to think, we might want to consider that maybe that's not necessarily true. maybe the right doesn't have a monopoly on manhood and masculinity. Huh? And maybe the right is also selling y'all a bunch of lies. Ain't no going back to the 1950s. It's not happening. I think black men might appreciate that and understand that. It's not like the 1950s were that great for us anyway, but that is the message. Huh? So, anyway, so let's play some of this. And I don't have these in any particular order. I did not actually put them in order, but yeah. Let's play these in, I guess, out of order. We'll just play them and see which one I play and how it shakes out, and we'll make reference to whatever I need to make reference to. So before we get underway, fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. All right, everyone, let's get underway.
And the point about the manosphere election, Scott Galloway, who I know you brothers know who he is, he made the point right after the elections in 24. He made the point to Anderson Cooper on CNN that the manosphere election came out for Donald Trump. And he made the point that when Donald Trump listened to his youngest son is Barron Trump. Yep. And Barron Trump, this is, by the way, you can look this up for yourself. Wall Street Journal talks about this. It's a matter of public record. Barron Trump said, listen, Dad, you want to have to get with the brothers, the bros, if you will, are doing podcasts. That's where if you want to reach young men, that's where they are. So Donald Trump listened to his son, went to all the bro podcasts, all the white podcasts, and he culminated with Joe Rogan. According to Scott Galloway at the time, that one podcast, and he was there for 3 hours. That's how Joe Rogan does. You sit there and you talk for 3 hours. That one podcast got Donald Trump over 60 million views. Yep. And that's what did it. That's what put him over the top with the election. So your point, Jeffrey St. And we know that the Democrat Party has spent $20 million in trying to get men back into the party. We know that. We know that. That's a matter of public record.
This is the kicker. If they spent tens of millions of dollars, if money's unaccounted for with the election campaign situation, if influencers and people were getting paid off to do 20-second speeches to talk about her, if why would you not assume that there's some type of nefarious money going on? We see what's happening in Minneapolis right now. So y'all think all these platforms is popping up over the last 2 years that's liberal and Democrat that nobody was really checking for like that? All of a sudden now come on, y'all, wake up. They're just like the artists of today that can't sing, that aren't that talented, but keep getting put in your face over and over and keep getting hits made for them. There's now podcasters, influencers who are getting checks for the liberal Democratic establishment, and half of them, they're not saying things. I can understand FD Signifier getting that check if they're even sending one his way, which they're probably not. At least I can understand that. Most people that are now getting these big opportunities are nothing like FD Signifier. Mm-hmm. They don't have the background. They don't have the pedigree. He's about to finish getting his, I think his PhD.
Oh, he's finally going to do it.
Yeah, he was, let me take that back. He was close to being done. He was in.
Yeah, he dropped out. That I do know.
Right.
Yeah.
So the point I'm making is you understand the caliber of somebody that can get access to those type of big ass guests. You ain't just pop a camera up and all of a sudden you whatever. And what I'm basically saying is I'm watching really big platforms get really big guests, and I'm not impressed with the person who's hosting it. There's a major disconnect.
You know, there was an album, and I'm telling on my age here because I'm the senior man here. Uh-oh. There was an album by an outfit called Public Enemy. Mm-hmm. Some of you may have heard of it. Public Enemy, a rap group of the 90s. Their second album, their first album was Yo Bum Rush the Show, came out 40 years ago. Their second effort came out a couple years later, called It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. And it had on the cover Chuck D and Flavor Flav in jail, okay, behind bars. And it said there, it takes a nation of millions to hold us back. Mm. That's what makes me think about the black manosphere. I'm thinking about this. The manosphere in general, when you got the white side of it, I'm talking on the black side. If they're going to these lengths to keep us from getting the word out, brother, they got Kevin passed away. Mm-hmm. They banned me from YouTube. You got a situation that you deal with. It's so intense, you can't even discuss it at the moment, Jeff. Yep. You've been attacked, Darwin. They've tried to cancel the Black Manosphere Conclave on several occasions, try to have it canceled. I mean, it just goes to show you the lengths to which they're going to try to kill this thing,
mm-hmm.
that says something to me. Because like you said, we don't have, millions of dollars and all that sort of thing, and politicians and policymakers and this.
I agree with all of that. That's not exclusive to the left. The AstroTurf, the big money. Don't you see a bunch of these podcast dudes trying to moonwalk out of Trump support? This is not what I voted for. Do we not see that? Huh? I said, shout out to AB Media, because he'll remember me saying this. And I think BGS will remember me saying this also. The politics of spite is real. I said that back in 2020? Actually, I said that before the election of 2020. I'm not even speaking about 2024. I'm saying before the election of 2020. I've been saying the politics of spite is real. And that's the era we're in. A lot of folks, many young men, voted a particular direction because of insane, outrageous, unregulated feminism. I agree, I understand. And they didn't appreciate all that came with Donald Trump. Now you got a couple of the white dudes on video, on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, telling you how much they regret their vote and what they thought it meant and what they're seeing it look like now. These are not people that were Democrats before then they voted Republican. We're not talking about those folks. I'm going to mention those folks in a minute, though. Huh? The politics of spite is real. You know how you have those one-issue voters? Some of these folks were one-issue voters to spite, like I keep on saying, the proverbial purple hair feminist girl cousin. They're tired of their girl cousin. Huh? Allison keep on ripping them apart every Thanksgiving dinner. She'd be running circles around him. And he finally got her ass back. Allison might be LGBTQ. She's snarky. She's sassy. Little sassy white girl. Purple hair feminist. Huh? Septum ring and all. Huh? And Brad finally got her back. And he got to snicker Thanksgiving dinner. 2024 Thanksgiving dinner, he got to snicker. And now, I don't know. Especially with rumors have it, allegedly, although we know it's true. But anyway, allegedly, a certain somebody name might be on a certain list. I'm just saying. Huh? Don't put it in the comments. Number one. Number two. And I'm gonna address it when it come up again. I would caution us on, and Jeff St. James spoke to this, and I'm mentioning it now. I'm gonna mention it again when it pop up. I would caution us on Donald Trump's election in particular. We have to remember Donald Trump was a celebrity before he was president. And his brashness and his bravado is very appealing to young men in particular, especially in this kind of edgelord white boy culture that we're in currently, right? This kind of hee ha ha irony culture that we're in, where it's like it's irony, but it's really not. Like we don't mean it, but we really do actually mean it. Like we're joking, but we're not joking. And that's how we kind of get you. Like, yeah, Donald Trump took advantage of that for the good and bad of it. And I think it might be a little too hasty to assume that the black men that voted for Donald Trump are going to vote for your run of the mill, boring, cookie cutter Republican president next time around. Huh? I think I'm not saying that some of the folks that drifted right aren't going to stay right. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying it might be a little too presumptive, too hasty to assume that the folks that voted for Trump in 2016, 2020, and 2024 are going to stay voting in that direction. Huh? We've known of Trump's name since what? At least the late 70s. Donald Trump, definitely through the late 80s and all through the 90s, definitely through through the aughts, the 2000s, and the 2010s up until he became president. We've been known about Donald Trump for a very long time. For literal decades. Huh? How many folks can get away with speaking the way Donald Trump speaks? How many Republicans can get away with speaking the way Donald Trump speaks? How many Republican candidates can be taped saying grab them by the vagina and still get a preponderance of white female votes? That's a real question. Huh? So, once again, I would caution us assuming that this is permanent. There are already people that are feeling what this means, and we have to be honest about this. Generally speaking, the Democrats are a corporate party also. That's not exclusive to the Republicans. I actually detest that the Democrats like to make it seem like, especially from Clinton on, they didn't become a corporate party also. That's what Clinton in the third way was. It was Republican light, including big money donors. So let's just put that out there flat. With that, the Democrats like to nibble on the edges and, okay, you know what? We know that we're the corporate party, and we know, we're also sending jobs overseas just like the Republicans are, but we want to alleviate just a little stress. So here's a little welfare, and here's a little social program, and here's a safety net that's a little bit higher off the ground than what the Republicans would give you. Here go maybe a couple more weeks of unemployment than what the Republicans would give you. And maybe we want national health care because we know y'all ain't gonna be keeping them jobs for very long. And we don't really want your job to be tied to we don't want your health care to be tied to your job. If we're talking about the lesser two evils here. Yep. Right? These are things to consider. And if we're living through this, well, what it looks like the end of neoliberalism and some type of techno-feudalistic, weird, techno-dystopian, gigafied, right? Highly gambling, and that's something I'm going to have to put in my community post. I watched it last night. I'm going to put it in my community post, and I'm going to put in my community post what was it? GVS what was the lady name, but what she covered with Marco Rubio. I'm going to put both of those, in my community tab after the stream. But yeah, this highly gamble society, especially concerning men and young men, because the economic situation is so dire. Got to make some money, and they're just gambling their life away, sports betting their life away. So when we're speaking about, you know, men and where the real men align politically. Now, first, I don't believe in none of it. I claim being a black leftist, but I can speak to black conservative men with respect. I just see it as a different perspective, especially if you try to get to where I'm trying to get to. You just taking a different route, right? With that, once we start doing the real man thing, huh? And no, you don't necessarily have to say it in those words, but we know, you know, just say it, huh? If the economy and the society is what it is, and the elites are attempting to decouple from your everyday person, and then it's really, oh, you just got to get it how you live. But they're still going to be taxing you, though. The culture of female effery needs to come to an end. And then you're going to have to go get your money. There's no reason that you should be being taxed and not see none of it. What, minus the roads? So we just gonna let them privatize everything? Z, are you still on topic? I'm still on topic. They're gonna be getting tax dollars from you, some of which is by way of tariff. Uh-oh, don't forget we're the ones paying the tariff. Uh, Real interesting way of raising taxes, Mr. Trump. I'm just saying. Z, you're not supposed to be saying that and going there. I'm just saying. So we supposed to be being taxed, but not see that in the form of benefits for us. Yeah. And you think the women gonna get on our program. Anyway, continuing.
So yeah, that's the room. And somebody said it in the comments. If I just started my stuff for a year, my podcast for a year, and all of this is organic, I don't have no organization backing me. I don't have the DNC paying and sending politicians my way. I ain't got all of this stuff happening. But when you got young guys like that, and I'm listening, I'm waiting for the interesting, thought-provoking thing that makes them so unique and stand out to justify how they're getting such big acts on their show.
That's what I was thinking. The same thing. I was thinking. I'm looking at the optics. I'm like, these are some young brothers.
It's obvious.
These are some young brothers, and they got some high-level stuff here. Who's paying these people?
It's no different than Call Me Daddy and all the other propped-up podcasts that aren't authentic. What's going to end up happening is they have to keep funneling it, because when they lost that election because of podcasts in 2024, the left didn't have no podcast people was watching and tuning into like that, especially for men. So whether they're getting paid directly or there's some kickbacks or something's going on, or they're working, whatever it is in cahoots, you know what good shows and good TV is. It's just regular dudes just shooting the shit. But they got a liberal lens, which they're allowed to do, and they're allowed to be Democrat and all of that stuff. But for y'all to be as young and as new with no
coming out of nowhere,
like what's the evidence for how you could justify something like this happening? More than likely, somebody's putting their hands on the scale for these type of situations to unfold. Now that they're bigger and more well known, anybody that wants to get on the show would probably try to. So now they're fine. But it's no different, man. So in reality, it's like, nah, man. If you took them out and put a room full of women in the conversation, would have been exactly the same. And that's the sad part, is that they themselves don't even see or realize that.
Yeah. And I also wanted to mention, when we get to that next week, when we talk about that a conversation with Clifton Powell in it. I don't know where that podcast is located. I don't know where they out of.
Actually, I should have paused that a little bit earlier. I will say this to Jeff St. James. That's the whole point, brother. That's something I make mention of on my channel often, is for you to show that you're an ally to black women as a black man, particularly a straight black man. You have to be sassy, mean, snarky, dismissive to other black men. You can't speak to them how I'm speaking, even though I'm in disagreement with you, how I'm speaking to you in Obsidian and Darwin. I'm not even talking to y'all directly. And there you can sense the level of respect. You can't speak like this. Once again, sensible leftist here. You can't speak. For you to show you're an ally of black women as a straight black man, you have to be antagonistic to other straight black men who are not kissing black women's ass. That's why them folks think I'm not who I am. Ain't no way you on the same political side as me. You might be right, but that's not a me problem. That's a you and your skewed view problem. Right? So that's something to consider, Jeff St. James. This is something I say about Foreign Man in a Foreign Land, but you really see this exhibited by Alvin from Waving the Red Flag. And consciously, look at how they speak about black men. Look at how they speak to black men with all the contempt in the world. With all the contempt in the world, they take on black women's resentment that they're not white women, but black women's resentment at black men politically. They embody it. When you look at how sassy and dismissive Alvin is concerning anything that has to do with black men, black women, when you look how dismissive he is to black men, that is how you show you're an ally of black women. You gotta be just insanely antagonistic. And that's why, and someone said in the comments, shout yourself out, when I was reviewing FD Signifier and the young men off of Jam, that the laughs came off so forced. It came off so performative. That's because it is. How else do you show that I'm not like those toxic men over there? Mr. Z and them and the Black Manosphere. I'm nothing like them. As a matter of fact, let me defecate on them in front of you so I can show. I get it. Huh? Z, it kind of sounds like you going back on what you just said 10 minutes ago. No, I'm not. I know what it is. This is why, once again, Mr. Z's channel hasn't blown up. That algorithm isn't going to blow me up because, number one, I'm not calling black women on top of yitches and 304s. But number two, because I don't sound like those guys. Huh? So the right, and let me get to it. The right who uses gender war politics to move black men to the right aren't going to boost me up. Ooh, I wasn't supposed to say that part out loud. And then the left is not going to boost me up either, because for me to be on the left, I'm supposed to sound like FD and Jam and them, Foreign Man and Conscious Lee and them, Lil Bill and Omizi and them, huh? Alvin and Waving the Red Flag in them, huh? I'm supposed to pretend like I don't know what the hell the Black Manosphere is talking about, huh? And Brooklyn Finest says, didn't a repub get caught doing drag? He was doing more than drag. If you talking about the same, I think Congress member out of Alabama, he was the bottom for black men, and he bragged about it. He ended up self-deleting when the story came out. Huh? If we talking about the same man, heavyset white man, married and all, if I'm not mistaken, married and all. Huh? That's been a thing for forever. So we have to appreciate no one has a monopoly on this, but not only that, the game that's being played amongst folks, men in particular, whether left or right, is, and I would argue this because the Republicans play a little interesting game. They ego stroke, but you still gonna be a slave to the system though, right? They still want you to do your duty and protect, provide, and shut up. They just stroke your ego and get a woman to stroke something else for you while you're doing your duty. They really don't think that you should be in the room making any decisions. Just pay your taxes, take care of the future generation of cogs in the wheel, and shut the hell up and let Elon and them do whatever the hell they want to do. We know the left playing that game. They're just using the women as a buffer. The left is using the women as a buffer, and the right is using the women as a carrot. Huh? Both of them are telling you, you're going to pay these taxes, shut the hell up, keep your head down, and do the bidding of the elite. Huh? Oh, man. So, continuing. And I saw that comment, the table talk comment. I ain't even going to say the first word. Hysterical. That's funny. Let's see if we can finish this. Continuing.
So yeah, that's the room. And somebody said it in the comments. If I just started my stuff for a year, my podcast for a year, and all of this is organic, I don't have no organization backing me. I don't have the DNC paying and sending politicians my way. I ain't got all of this stuff happening. But when you got young guys like that, and I'm listening, I'm waiting for the interesting, thought-provoking thing that makes them so unique and stand out to justify how they're getting such big acts on their show.
That's what I was thinking. The same thing. I was thinking. I'm looking at the optics. I'm like, these are some young brothers.
It's obvious.
These are some young brothers, and they got some high-level stuff here. Who's paying these people?
It's no different than Call Me Daddy and all the other propped-up podcasts that aren't authentic. What's going to end up happening is they have to keep funneling it, because when they lost that election because of podcasts in 2024, the left didn't have no podcast people was watching and tuning into like that, especially for men. So whether they're getting paid directly or there's some kickbacks or something's going on, or they're working, whatever it is in cahoots, you know what good shows and good TV is. It's just regular dudes just shooting the shit. But they got a liberal lens, which they're allowed to do, and they're allowed to be Democrat and all of that stuff. But for y'all to be as young and as new with no
coming out of nowhere,
like what's the evidence for how you could justify something like this happening? More than likely, somebody's putting their hands on the scale for these type of situations to unfold. Now that they're bigger and more well known, anybody that wants to get on the show would probably try to. So now they're fine. But it's no different, man. So in reality, it's like, nah, man. If you took them out and put a room full of women in, the conversation would have been exactly the same. And that's the sad part, is that they themselves don't even see or realize that.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to mention, when we get to that next week, when we talk about that conversation with Cliff the Pile in it, I don't know where that podcast is located. I don't know where they out of. I might attempt to try to get on there. I told myself I wasn't going to go on no more podcasts. I went down to Valuetainment a few years ago. Besides Adam Sotnick's, man.
Oh, Patrick Bet David, yeah.
Yeah, he is. I think one of his co-workers or partners is.
It was called Black Men Trust Black Women. That roundtable. That's what it was called.
Wow.
Yeah. So
notice the framing here. Notice how it's framed. Everything is built on. This is the reason why I say Black America is a matriarchy, man. It's not a patriarchy. There's no patriarchy in Black America. Everything is built, and I'm not even saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's what it is. It's built around Black women. That's the premise. Everything is built around Black women, right? And again, I'm not saying they don't have the right to do it. I'm not saying that. I'm not demonizing them. I'm just saying, bro, how you gonna have a patriarchy when Black women are at the center of everything? Make it make sense. How's that work? The entire conversation. We're going to talk about this next week. Matter of fact, my man AC Hatchet in the building, he said we need to do this every week. And I agree with him. I think this is something we just struck gold here. The thing is, the entire premise of that conversation we're going to deal with next week, Clifton Powell and them, The whole thing was about black women.
I might be able to get Clifton Powell on here with us.
Oh man, that would be amazing.
That would be great. That would be good. Yeah, yeah. If you can fix that from your lips to God's ears, yes, that would be good. I would love for the four of us, you know, and talk it out. Because my thinking is this, and this is the reason why the Black Ministry Conclave gets in so much trouble. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the conclave. Some people in the chat room, get the mic away from Mumia because we don't want to hear about the conclave. That's what we're here to do. These are my conclave brothers, so we're going to talk about it, all right? The movie's about what the movie's about. Listen, there are a lot of black women that don't like the fact that no black women are allowed doing conclave business hours. They don't like that. They don't like the fact that we don't include them in the proceedings. We don't let them in to see what we're talking about, and they don't get the chance to see, you know, to get their hands in the money and get their hands in how things are done and who gets to speak and who don't get to speak. They don't like that. They tried to swat us. They tried to shut us down, try to cancel us. Black men. Isn't it what they've been saying for the longest time? Black men need to get themselves together. Black men do that is the problem. So what is this really about, ladies? Let's just get right to it. Let's put it right on the table. What is this really about? I'll tell you what it's about. It's about control.
Power and control.
That's what it's about. This ain't about brothers actually like getting their act together. That ain't really what it's about. What it's about is control. That's what it's about. And I understand why they say shook, because one of the things that I've learned about therapy is this. You learn how to get away from people in situations that hurt you. And what if those people in situations, you know where I'm going with this. What if some of those people in situations just happen to be double X? Then what?
Now, Obsidian is not the first, nor will he be the last to say, this look like it's about control, ladies. Ladies, it look like what you really care about is control. Let's go back in the Wayback Machine. Rest in peace, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing.
Well, I think first we should say that, you know, there's interracial marriages that take place between black women and white men too. And that's a whole area because it seems that black men always get the focus of the interest and the attack, which is interesting because I think the society, white supremacy, has been concerned mostly with the black man, white woman. So I think that's the reverse of that, the white man, the black woman, also is a subject. There's no question, it seems to me, that black women, from what I can see, all over, very, very upset and threatened by the growing relationships between black men and white women, and that they oppose it. Now, from the black man's standpoint, I hear a lot of brothers say over and over again that first it was a white man who told them they couldn't go out with white women. Now it's mainly the black woman who's telling them that they can't go out with white women, so that they still feel oppressed. Now, for whatever that's worth, I think that's an important point psychologically for the black man, because is the black woman in this, is she more concerned with her control over black men, see, or is she concerned with white supremacy and interracial relationships in general? Because if black women are concerned in general, then they should attack just as much, I think, the white man, black woman combination.
But hasn't the black woman, to some extent, because the statistics have reversed. The statistics for black women, white men has decreased by the same percentage that the statistics for black men, white women has increased. Yeah. So obviously the black woman
has more cause for concern at this point.
Well, maybe perhaps she has more awareness, more consciousness, more cause for concern. Maybe her concern is not due to the fact she's threatened. Maybe her concern is due to the fact that she's just politically more sophisticated and more conscious of what black people ultimately may have to do, and that is unify themselves.
Let me just add this, that I think,
and I'm going to play the rest of that in a minute. To the interviewer, and we know this was decades ago, what, 70s? Let's be very clear. Just because black women can't pull white men like that for marriage, not for fun time, doesn't mean that she's more loyal or she's more understanding of the right and correct direction. We've been battling this idea of black women's moral superiority for decades. They haven't shown it yet. This idea that black women have a view that is superior to black men because black men want power and black women want justice. And how is that justice going right now with Donald Trump as president? Oops. Anyway. Once again, and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing couldn't get it out. I'm sorry about that. Is going to get into that in a minute. But black women not being able to turn whatever situation with white men, or not even situation with white men, but in significant number, turn that into marriage, and then turn that into some type of political and social power, does not mean that they have a better view and understanding of Black collective uplift. It just means that white men don't see them in aggregate. The majority, vast majority of white men do not see Black women as that type of partner. We're not talking about triple X fun, bedroom fun partner. We're speaking about wife partner. We're speaking about name on legal document partner. Blech. Continuing.
Well, I think first we should say that there's interracial marriages that take place between black women and white men too, and that's a whole area because it seems that black men always get the focus of the interest and the attack, which is interesting because I think the society, white supremacy, has been concerned mostly with the black man, white woman. So I think that's the reverse of that. The white man, the black woman, also is a subject. There's no question, it seems to me, that black women, from what I can see, all over, very, very upset and threatened by the growing relationships between black men and white women, and that they oppose it. Now, from the black man's standpoint, I hear a lot of brothers say over and over again that first it was a white man who told them they couldn't go out with white women. Now it's mainly the black woman who's telling them that they can't go out with white women, so that they still feel oppressed. Now, for whatever that's worth, I think that's an important point psychologically for the black man, because is the black woman in this, is she more concerned with her control over black men, see, or is she concerned with white supremacy and interracial relationships in general? Because if black women are concerned in general, then they should attack just as much, I think, the white man, black woman combination.
But hasn't the black woman, to some extent, because the statistics have reversed. The statistics for black women, white men has decreased by the same percentage that the statistics for black men, white women has increased. Yeah. So obviously the black woman
has more cause for concern at this point.
Well, maybe perhaps she has more awareness, more consciousness, more cause for concern. Maybe her concern is not due to the fact she's threatened. Maybe her concern is due to the fact that she's just politically more sophisticated and more conscious of what black people ultimately may have to do, and that is unify themselves.
Let me just add this, that I think that the black woman's concern is related to, let's say, perhaps her survival as a woman or her functioning as a woman. That, and hopefully, I hope it's beyond that, the change in the statistics. But I think that, let us say, black men after the age of 15 are decreased in the population relative to the number of black women. Where are they? They're in Vietnam, they're in prisons, and they're dying from various causes at earlier ages than white men comparably. So that, let's say, there are a number of women, black women, who are going without adequate spouses or male partners to relate to. So probably, instinctively, black women are concerned about that. Historically, white men have not been interested in black or other non-white women, be they Japanese, Chinese, Indian, or whatever. They have been interested in sexually exploiting black women, but not really taking them to the altar, let's say, to marry them or to really fully respect them. So perhaps black women are
50 years later, still
but
true.
I think that what is key is really what is happening to blacks, because I see the thrust of white women sexually aggressing against the black man, or from the other side, the thrust of the white man sexually aggressing against the black woman, that this produces a division between black men and black women that is going to contribute significantly to, if you want to call it, genocide of black people. In other words, if you heighten the alienation between black men and black women,
harder to organize.
Right. It will. In other words, we talk about unity at a political organization level as being one kind of unity, but there is another kind of unity that is much more fundamental, and that is the unity within the family unit itself. And we have been denied the opportunity to really have functioning family units since the really onset of white supremacy.
Let me ask one question. Let's talk about
the question then becomes, and once again, rest in peace, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. What does a functional family unit look like in the black community? What does a functional family unit look like? If we're going to speak about it, what does it look like? Because this pseudo matriarchy, as Obsidian said, that black women are trying to force down black men's throat, and I meant that with the pun. Black men ain't going, huh? And don't get it misconstrued. We're not the only ones saying that these folks are attempting to maintain a matriarchy, gynocracy, if you want to be accurate, in the black community. FD said that himself.
Best question is in your opinion, is the black community a patriarchy, a matriarchy, a gynocracy, or an other?
The community itself is probably more matriarchal than patriarchal. The culture.
I appreciate you answering that. So, do you believe that the black community can actually be a functional community, being matriarchal?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Oh shit.
Under the thing
So
that makes
I want, so I don't know, and I appreciate. Okay, so I don't, because I know you ain't got a lot of time. If you want to talk more, you can. But I just want to make very clear when I said what I said about the ideology, because you may not have heard that. I said, do you consider yourself an intersectional feminist?
He said yeah.
Yeah, he said
You
yeah.
did? I didn't know. Because I'm jumping in and out too, so I didn't know. So you did say yeah?
I don't call myself a feminist.
Okay,
but
so
I am intersectional.
Huh?
I don't actually call myself.
Okay, so you do believe in intersectionality. You're in that camp. Okay, so see, I just wanted to be very clear about that. It is my belief the black community will never be a functional community as long as it's matriarchal. It is also my belief that intersectional feminism
how does a successful matriarchal community work?
No, I just want to establish the actual lines here. Because everything, everything that always gets said when you talk about you hate our rhetoric, like hate is a real strong word.
Yeah.
Hate is a real strong word to use. And there is no negotiation for this. It's either one or the other. That is what this is. Like, I want people to really understand that. Because everybody has this idea that we can come to an understanding. No. You have folks that believe the women need to be in the lead and the men need to be the support group. And somehow we're supposed to...
Right there. Hold on. Wait. That's good. Wait a minute. That brings me right to my question. Now,
that's the definition of matriarchy.
You think a matriarchal community could work? How does that play out? Are you talking about, does this matriarchal community work somehow with women raising these children by themselves, or does this matriarchal community work with the men being with the women, but it's still being matriarchal, but they just get behind and follow the lead of the women? Like, how does this play out in real time? Because we know the former that I mentioned, where the women raising kids by themselves, statistically don't work. So are you basically saying, are you advocating for some matriarchy where the men just follow the women?
I'm not advocating for any specific hierarchy among black men and women. I'm saying that the idea that matriarchal institutions and households don't work explicitly because they're matriarchal is false. I don't believe that. I believe that black people.
I'm going to end up having to play that whole thing again. My apologies, everyone, for torturing you with that and torturing you in the future, because I got to play the whole thing again. FD, it doesn't work because the men don't participate. It doesn't work because the second the men get on, you got to have bum men. You have to have loser men. I played the clip the other day with the academic white lady that tell you, even in certain parts of Africa, that the second they started putting factories and whatnot in that part of the country, the men that were part of these type of weirdo matriarchies, they left. And they went to go form, wait for it, nuclear families with one woman instead of being under one woman, maybe with another man. The matriarchy can't work because you need the men to support it. The only reason the matriarchy even exists in the black community in America is because it's being propped up by white folks. Show me the ballerific men who are going to entertain a matriarchy or gynocracy. Show me them. Show me the strong-willed men who are going to support that. Where are they? And Ed is correct. That is what the ladies are trying to attempt in the black community.
What if black women were supposed to be the leaders and black men are just supposed to protect with their muscles and use their listening ears and carry out instructions?
Huh? FD, that clip came out years after you and Ed had that conversation. Years after. That young lady published that clip years after. She's telling you, yeah, that is what we want, though. And I guarantee you she never heard that Bernard Riley conversation. She never heard Edward Anderson, shout out to Ed, ask FD signify that question. But she's telling you, and she's not the only one, that this is the model.
I miss when men used to protect, provide, and shut up.
Huh? The men are not going. They're not signing up for it. And once again, shout out to Edward Anderson for asking the question. The appropriate right question. Mr. Z did not get a chance to ask. Well, I wasn't even in that headspace when I was speaking to FD. But once again, shout out to Edward Anderson for asking the question. FD, fundamentally, the problem is that the second black women start trying to flex this type of power dynamic, the men leave. Check the interracial marriage rate for black men. That is the community that black women want to form. Fine, maybe not all, enough. And black men not going, they're not going to go. Continuing.
My best question is in your opinion, is the black community a patriarchy, a matriarchy, a gynocracy, or an other?
The community itself is probably more matriarchal than patriarchal. The culture.
I appreciate you answering that. So, do you believe that the black community can actually be a functional community, being matriarchal?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Oh shit.
Under the thing that makes
I appreciate. Okay, so because I know you ain't got a lot of time. If you want to talk more, you can. But I just want to make very clear when I said what I said about the ideology, because you may not have heard that. I said, do you consider yourself an intersectional feminist?
He said, yeah.
Yeah, he said,
yeah.
yeah.
I didn't know. Because I'm jumping in and out too, so I didn't know. So you did say yeah.
I don't call myself a feminist.
Okay,
but
so
I am intersectional.
Huh?
I don't actually call myself.
Okay, so you do believe in intersectionality. You're in that camp. Okay, so see, I just wanted to be very clear about that. It is my belief the black community will never be a functional community as long as it's matriarchal. It is also my belief that intersectional feminism.
How does a successful matriarchal community work?
No, I just want to establish the actual lines here. Hold on, because everything, everything that always gets said when you talk about you hate our rhetoric, like hate is a real strong word.
Yeah.
Hate is a real strong word to use. And there is no negotiation for this. It's either one or the other. That is what this is. Like, I want people to really understand that, because everybody has this idea that we can come to an understanding. No, you have folks that believe the women need to be in the lead and the men need to be the support group, and somehow we supposed to.
Hold on, wait. That's good. Wait a minute. That brings me right to my question. Now,
that's the definition of matriarchy.
You think a matriarchal community could work? How does that play out? Are you talking about, does this matriarchal community work somehow with women raising these children by themselves, or does this matriarchal community work with the men being with the women, but it's still being matriarchal, but they just get behind and follow the lead of the women? Like, how does this play out in real time? Because we know the former that I mentioned, with the women raising kids by themselves, statistically don't work. So are you basically saying, are you advocating for some matriarchy where the men just follow the women?
I'm not advocating for any specific hierarchy among black men and women. I'm saying that the idea that matriarchal institutions and households don't work explicitly because they're matriarchal is false. I don't believe that. I believe that black people aren't doing well in this country, not because black women have any type of power or more power than black men in some spaces or whatever other talking point that y'all pulling at. I think it's because of white supremacy. I think.
Okay, so basically, you want time out. So you want the whole intersectionality, rainbow coalition, all those movements to basically defeat white supremacy, so black women can thrive, being single mothers and in the community by themselves.
So that black men can thrive and black men can.
Sounds about right. Shout out to Bernard.
You think the matriarchal black community will work as long as we get white supremacy out the way? So you want to join behind the rainbow coalition, get in line behind the women, defeat white supremacy, so they can still carry on being the single mothers and raise kids by themselves successfully without white supremacy.
Take the single mothers off the table, because
answer, bro.
Be a strong sector in our own community, then, right?
What the fuck?
Let FD answer.
Stop! I asked him a question. I thought it was a good one. I want to hear his answer.
I think it was a good one. I think the circumstances that we're in now, with black men in particular, and how, again, quoting your boy Curry, how black men are the primary target of white supremacy. It is literally impossible right now for us to find liberation without the support and collective work of black women and black queer people. The idea that these dudes, y'all, who can't even control your own narratives, to control your own content, to grow as much as people that are saying the same shit y'all are. The idea that y'all are going to lead.
Kevin Samuels did.
Kevin Samuels did. He's an anomaly. He's very much an anomaly. Like,
Tommy got 3 channels, 250K plus.
Let me finish.
Let him land the plane. Wait, time out. Hold on. Kevin
Yeah,
Samuels
you cut him off. He was about to go there, bro. He was about to go there. You cut him off.
Hold on, wait. Kevin Samuels is an anomaly, so is Pearly. So don't come in here trying to use her as a stick to hit us with just because another anomaly of a different race blew up off some red pill talking.
They blew up off the same reason, but they'll never get to the size. Like Kevin is unique because he got to the size of a Pearly while still being a black man and still having some tie to this community. Whereas if you look at the other dudes like a Fresh and Fit, like a Andrew Tate, that adopt the same rhetoric, they completely disavow to it. But even Tommy don't claim y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like but that's we get off subject.
That's because Tommy got that Jason Black disease. But
and number one, being claimed. Number one, this idea of validation and being claimed. Nigga, if anything, claiming is not relevant to getting stuff done. Like that's some black ego. I need to
validate to be a part of the Black Manosphere then, FD, because you clearly want to be a part, or you wish to be.
Yeah, I mean,
you wish to participate.
No. So I want to
let him lay the plane.
I want to engage with Ragesh
because this nigga's out of pocket.
Right, mispronouncing roguish name. True. Let's address that allyship of black women, right? That black men can't make no progress without black women. Once again, as I said a few days ago, the way this sounds is white men get to be Iron Man, white men get to be Superman, white men get to be Thor, white men get to be Captain America, white men get to every once in a while get some help from someone, but get some aid from someone, but we know they could do this and be heroes by themselves. But black men are T'Challa, they're Black Panther. They need black women, don't you know? They need Siri, they need their mother, they need the Dora Milaje, they need all the women around them. Huh? The black men are incapable. Number one. Number two, black female allyship, whatever that is, comes with a right fist. It comes with a verbal assault and rhetorical assault. I'm using these words on purpose the way I'm using them. Shout out to YouTube. And rhetorical assault if you're not kissing their ass. And what you're seeing increasingly with younger and younger black men is like, you know what? You go ahead and keep that allyship over there. I'm going to go over here. And over here might be Passport Bros or SYSBM, or over here might just be video games and social media and hobbies and the occasional snoo with whoever. And the Jergens lotion. Black men are not signing up for this. You want to know how you know? Because they're not signing up for it. Right? This idea that black men are going to sign up for gynocratic rule enthusiastically. How has that been working for the past few decades? How is it working now? Let me say this again. Nothing y'all talking about over there mean anything if you can't get black women subsidized or paid for. Huh? If you can't get black women subsidized or paid for, all you doing is making them feel better while they sink beneath the waves. And a handful of them will be Kim Foster or Julesy and make their own money and be okay financially, while the masses of them are struggling or starving. Huh? The masses of them are struggling or starving. And I'm glad you said this line in line says, that validation seeking is lady talking point. Since when have we sought out validation? And that speaks to FD in that feminist lens he's using. And I'm glad Ed said that. That's what I speak of when I speak of the divergent politics between black men and black women. Black women seek to be seen because they think they can't get murked if they're seen. They think they won't. You won't oppress me if we're out in the light, in the daylight. Who said? If everybody could see you and see what I'm doing and see what you're doing, then you won't murk me on camera. Says who? They seek to be seen because they see that as a form of validation, and then they see that as, okay, well, if you see me and then you validate my humanity, my femininity, my womanness, like white women, elite white women, then you couldn't harm me. No way. And black men's politics doesn't work like that because we appreciate, number one, the politics of visibility is a bunch of BS. Number two, black men can't move the way black women move. Whatever teeny tiny bit of gains, they didn't make no gains really, whatever teeny tiny bit of gains they made with this politics of visibility won't work for us. Quite frankly, if you really want to say it, we're more visible than them. And how's that worked for us? Oh, wait. At the same time you had Michael Jordan at his height, you had Rodney King. Goddamn, Z, I'm just saying. Huh? Uh-oh. Black rappers were talking about Fruity Pebble chains, and yet Trayvon Martin got deleted by a vigilante, a racist white Latino vigilante, mestizo vigilante. Huh? Black rappers talking about how much money they got, and yet Michael Brown got deleted by a police officer who claimed that Michael Brown was rushing him while the police officer was unloading his gun. So black male visibility doesn't change the violence that's met, or the violence that we have to deal with. Yeah. Yikes. So this politics of visibility, this politics of validation, huh? Black women with the politics you've seen from the air quotes black community over the past few decades has been black women's politics. And how do they look now? With 500 and some odd 600,000 jobs lost over the past couple years. How do they look now when they hitch their wagon to white liberal women and men, and white liberal women and men, white conservative cousin broke their back, and the number one group to feel that was black women because they were the mascot for the BS. Huh? From Africa I came, perfect. And from Africa I came says we're all seeing a mass deletion, we'll say, being live streamed. Visibility won't stop anything. Say that. Yo, some of them folks are saving whatever little battery life they have to record the bombs dropping or the soldiers from that other side. We talk about that little slice of Europe, everyone. The soldiers from that other side deleting them and laughing, going into their homes, turning over furniture, laughing, bulldozing, laughing, huh? Deleting babies. And that's not stopping anything. Huh? I'm glad Ed said that at the end. This weirdo politics of visibility and validation and this what? But that, as I've said before, this speaks to the difference in how the masses, not all black women, view the direction and how black people should seek this not so much this black self-determination, and how black men see that black folks should seek self-determination. And what has happened over the past few decades is that white society, admittedly, the white left in particular, see, the white right just would like you to go away. Just shut up, be poor, as Sarge Willie Pete says, just be productive, high functioning, smiling poors, obedient poors. Where the left, on the other hand, put the thumb on the scales for black women's politics over the past few decades, over black men's politics. And well, you get the politics you have now. Huh? And because the white left is out of power, black women got to eat mud. Huh? The white left is out of power, so black women got to eat mud. And because you were the loudest and you were the mascot for the BS, you have to appreciate JD Vance and them know that. Sagar and Jenny and them know that. Oops. Huh? Vivek Ramaswamy knows that. Oh boy. So anyway, continuing.
Well, one of the things that I've observed, and a lot of the people that think the way that they do, they believe that any type of criticism is opens the gates for everybody else to disparage, disrespect. And one way to view it is, yeah, I think people who are racist or sexist or misogynist are always going to look for reasons and justifications to justify why they're going to put their ideas out there. That doesn't mean we can't say anything. That doesn't mean we're not allowed to speak on what's happening in the community, both in men's behaviors and women's behaviors. And what happens is like, well, because we don't want the wrong people with the wrong motive speaking on it, therefore we want all of y'all to shut the F up. And the problem is that would work if they were shutting up about black men, but they don't, and they never will. So if the choices are, according to them, either we say nothing and pander to them, regardless of their behavior and actions that's helped contribute to how we got in this position, or either ignore it, or if we say something, we're now no different than white supremacists and people who are functioning outside the community that's anti-black. That's a false binary that only they operate out of. That's why in their worldview, there is no shame. There is no criticism. There is no negative feedback or constructive feedback that needs to exist, especially from people who the black women are actually wanting to marry. This is what it is. This is the game. That's the game. And it's as sad as maybe people don't realize what it is. This is why you can't say nothing. This is why they can cheer when somebody dead. They can cheer when people are grieving. You know the roles are reversed, how we would look crazy if we were doing this. A room of 4, 5, 6 men making fun of some black woman that died and all the black women that's upset about that. Doesn't sound insane.
The channel wouldn't even be up. It would be monetized and brought down.
Yeah, it sounds sick. And because they're so used to in a world where women are allowed to do it and them having a women's mindset, this is why they think it's appropriate for men to do the same. I've seen men who took the lives of other men's family members and show more respect for those family members than what I saw in that room. And I'm not surprised. So when I said last year that there's no men left in the Democrat Party, on the liberal left, it's all males and they're all led by females and everybody wanted to go all up in arms with me, this is what you see. Because where was the man in the room that says this is going too far? That's inappropriate. This would be crazy if we were doing this the other way around. This is going to be foul. We actually don't know all the details. Maybe there's a reason why grown men were actually frustrated and upset. And what's the issue or disconnect between us on the left that we can't connect what millions of other men are feeling? Maybe the masculinity isn't just so high and peaking in the Democrat side right now. That's why. So that I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. And
well, once again, Jeff St. James, is the masculinity so high and peaking on the right when many men, including black men, are okay with being cucks to elite rich white men? I'm just saying, Kanye's not the only one that feel like Trump is his daddy. Like, I'm being funny, but I'm not being funny. Huh? Who's the masculine one? Ben Shapiro? Huh? Matt Walsh in the flannel? Who's the masculine one? Nelk boys or whatever they call themselves, who's trying to moonwalk out of this? Who? Andrew Schultz? Which one of these is the real man? Officer Tatum, whose voice got real light when he started going back and forth with Nick Fuentes. He was barking on black men, but when he started going back and forth with Nick Fuentes, oh, that voice changed. He wasn't throwing out them threats. When I see you, I'll beat your ass. Yeah, what happened? Huh? Who's the man over there? Huh? Who? Tim Scott? With his messed up gum to teeth ratio? That's a real question. Like, for real, no, that's a real question. Who's the man over there? Mitch McConnell? Turkey neck, turtle face ass? JD Vance, who didn't even defend his wife? From the same type of white dudes that he props up? Who? Who's the man over there? Vivek Ramaswamy? When his face got tight when the white boys started going off on him? Rightfully so. For the same type of politics he thought was okay when he was throwing black people under the bus? Who's the man over there? Huh? Ben Shapiro get into the conversation back and forth with what's his name, Andrew, whatever the hell, from the UK, and he started doing, I'm more popular than you. Nobody knows who you are. He fell into a 12-year-old, 7-year-old white girl. Who's the man over there? Huh? Bill O'Reilly? We'll do it live. Throwing a whole temper tantrum on set. Who's the man over there? Rush Limbaugh? Resting. Huh? Who's the man? Stephen Miller? Who's a 30-something-year-old edgelord still? He's been a weirdo edgelord since he was a kid. He ain't never grow out of it. Who's the man over there? Huh? Peter Thiel? If you don't know what type of lifestyle Peter Thiel living, I don't know. I don't know if you want to call him the man. Huh? Who's the man over there? So real good question. Who's the man over there? As I was mentioning earlier, the Republican, I think it was Congress member out of Alabama, who was the bottom for black men. Straight by day, LGBTQ by night. Then self-delete when the story come out. Who's the man over there? No, Harambe. So basically, folks have to agree on political views now? No, you do not have to agree on political views. But if you're going to say, imply, or suggest that one political side has a monopoly on manhood and there's no manhood on the other side, you got to be ready for someone like Mr. Z to be like, oh, so prison rules. I'm just saying. Harambe, you started a conversation too late. Don't start the conversation with Mr. Z reply. Start the conversation with what Mr. Z is replying to. Huh? Once again, who's the man over there? No, Harambe, I am not one of these, you got to agree with me or else people. Huh? Oh, man. But once again, The question remains, who's the man over there? Did y'all recall Barney Frank? And this is forever ago. This is decades ago. Barney Frank got in trouble because he had 10 toes, male 10 toes, because he was same-sex loving, and he had a lisp. I know. He got in trouble because he had 10 toes living in his basement, like renting out his basement, but living in his basement. And he got in trouble because the 10 toes was running 10 toes. If you don't get what Mr. Z is saying, I'm just saying. He got in trouble by Congress. He's a Congress member. Guess what? They dropped it. Rumor has it, allegedly, because he started putting out threats. Even the Republicans didn't want to continue the investigation. The question is, what the hell are the Republicans on when they missed an opportunity to crush Barney Frank? Huh? This is a loud, outspoken LGBTQ white man. Just saying, who's the man over there? Huh? Matt Gaetz couldn't be attorney general because he was out here with underage. Just saying. Huh? Who's the man over there? Huh? CK was getting big money and big money donors backing him. Huh? Who's the man over there? Oh, Eric, just say that. That part too. And Eric Denman says, well, Z, the absolute silence from both parties regarding the files from that island will say they both are on the same ish. Say that. Huh? This is a real question. Y'all forgot Nikki Haley was playing around behind her husband back? Just saying. Who's the man over there? You done cucked your husband. Who's the man over there? Huh? Them white dudes mocking Dinesh D'Souza, his daughter. Then they mock the daughter's white husband. And he got to eat that. Who's the man over there? From Africa I came. If you don't stop it, he says Lindsey Graham, Z. Yeah. Rumor has it about Lindsey Graham for decades. Broke wrist over there. Huh? I don't think it's a coincidence that Lindsey is a... That name goes both ways. We'll just say that. Huh? Who's the man over there? See, the difference is I'm not claiming the left has a monopoly on manhood and masculinity, because that's not true. We all know that. I'm saying the right has a monopoly on manhood and masculinity. Z, I don't know if that's the voice you want to use for that. Still, I'm just saying, the right has a monopoly on manhood and masculinity. Are you sure about that? Huh? Say that, Saint Cyr. And Saint Cyr says, we're not even going to mention Grindr crashing during Republican events. If you don't know, Grindr is a same-sex loving dating app. And whenever they have a Republican convention or Republican anything, meet and greet, Z did that on purpose, pun intended. Whenever they have a Republican meet and greet, Grindr goes down. Who's the man over there? Just saying. Huh? Oh, man. Someone said black men are between a rock and a hard place politically. We are. We are. Huh? Huh? There is no safe space. There's no panacea. There's no. So I'm just careful with this. I don't speak as if the left has all the answers. Clearly not. I critique folks on the left all the time, particularly concerning man-woman dynamics. With that, the right don't got all the answers. If the right had all the answers, then their daughters wouldn't move to large cities and vote Democrat. Huh? That's a real thing. Their daughters wouldn't be divorcing their sons. If the right had all the answers and they were on the right side, like, y'all forgot that these white dudes are lying about who they voted for to get some snoo from these white women? Huh? You got conservative white men lying about who they voted for so they could get some snoo. And it's not just because no, liberal women are more loose and they're more open to doing whatever. No, cut it out. That's the only thing I will say. I get it, and I appreciate how the left has weaponized feminism to the nth degree. Off the goddamn Richter scale. It done broke the goddamn Richter scale. I get it. You're not gonna find Mr. Z disagreeing with that. Right? But when you adopt the politics of a particular side for one or two reasons, you have to appreciate everything else that come along with that. I made mention earlier the folks that voted for Trump that are low-key regretting it. You know? Some of those farmers regretting it. Certain naturalized immigrants regretting it. Huh? That's a real thing. Some of these folks that worked for government regretting it. Now, why? Because the man told you what type of time he was on. And I posted when they got elected, before he got before he got sworn in. Elon, I posted it in my community tab. Elon pretty much said, "Hey, I just want you to know we gonna go through difficult times." Well, huh? Yeah. Anyway, continuing. We're gonna play that again and then we're gonna move on.
Well, one of the things that I've observed, and a lot of the people that think the way that they do, they believe that any type of criticism is opens the gates for everybody else to disparage, disrespect. And one way to view it is, yeah, I think people who are racist or sexist or misogynist are always going to look for reasons and justifications to justify why they're going to put their ideas out there. That doesn't mean we can't say anything. That doesn't mean we're not allowed to speak on what's happening in the community, both in men's behaviors and women's behaviors. And what happens is like, well, because we don't want the wrong people with the wrong motive speaking on it, therefore we want all of y'all to shut the F up. And the problem is that would work if they were shutting up about black men, but they don't, and they never will. So
I agree.
If the choices are, according to them, either we say nothing and pander to them, regardless of their behavior and actions that's helped contribute to how we got in this position, or either ignore it, or if we say something, we're now no different than white supremacists and people who are functioning outside the community that's anti-black. That's a false binary that only they operate out of. That's why in their worldview, there is no shame. There is no criticism. There is no negative feedback or constructive feedback that needs to exist, especially from people who the black women are actually wanting to marry. This is what it is. This is the game. That's the game. And it's as sad as maybe people don't realize what it is. This is why you can't say nothing. This is why they can cheer when somebody dead. They can cheer when people are grieving. You know the roles are reversed, how we would look crazy if we were doing this. A room of 4, 5, 6 men making fun of some black woman that died and all the black women that's upset about it. That doesn't sound insane.
The channel wouldn't even be up. It would be monetized and brought down.
Yeah, it sounds sick. And because they're so used to in a world where women are allowed to do it and them having a women's mindset, this is why they think it's appropriate for men to do the same. I've seen men who took the lives of other men's family members and show more respect for those family members than what I saw in that room. And I'm not surprised. So when I said last year that there's no men left in the Democrat Party, when the liberal left, it's all males and they're all led by females and everybody wanted to go all up in arms with me, this is what you see. Because where was the man in the room that says this is going too far? That's inappropriate. This would be crazy if we were doing this the other way around. This is going to be foul. We actually don't know all the details. Maybe there's a reason why grown men were actually frustrated and upset. And what's the issue or disconnect between us on the left that we can't connect what millions of other men are feeling? Maybe the masculinity isn't just so high and peaking in the Democrat side right now. That's why. So that I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. And it's unfortunate because I think when FD, like he acknowledged when he first came out, I actually think he maybe went with the right intentions to be more balanced. And then when them checks start hitting and the algorithm start hitting, we saw what his stance ended up being. And he's figured out a way to challenge the systems and ideology that he thinks is problematic. And a lot of his stuff is really good and well researched. But then when it comes to men and masculinity, his rigid view of what a healthy form of masculinity means and is only one that women approve of. And as a result, that is feminization. When men are using talking points to describe any and everything. Only a woman, and only a liberal woman at that, would look at a situation like this and thought it was funny.
Wow.
Only a woman. You know what? Only liberal women and only white supremacists would have thought black men grieving about a black man that finally gave them a voice in a space that most of them didn't even know existed is funny.
I agree. It's funny because they got a virtue signal to the ladies that they're allies. And as I said earlier, the way you signal to the ladies that you're allies is by being antagonistic and smug and dismissive to your average straight black man. Alvin just walked in the room. Alvin from Waving the Red Flag just walked in the room. FD Signify just walked in the room. Omizi just walked in the room. Donovan from Grapevine just walked in the room. Huh? Consciously just walked in the room. There's a number of these folks that they have a baseline of respect for everyone, including the white conservative. But black men who they disagree with politically, especially concerning black women, oh, the disrespect. They gotta mock you and make fun of you and insult you. How else are they supposed to talk to you? They're only embodying what they know and feel that black women want to see and hear. Huh? And so that's how that go. And y'all gives you a second. Yeah. So let me see that again. Y'all gives you a second. We got 90 viewing. We had 102 a minute ago. 90 viewing and 68 likes. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. I'm talking politics. I ain't getting no super chats, no nothing. I hear y'all. It's gonna happen every once in a while, y'all. It's gonna happen every once in a while. Mr. Z gonna stream about something that many, if not most, of my subscribers don't appreciate, and my take and my angle will be something a bit different. I get it, everyone. I get it. Right? I get it. Continuing.
And the point about the manosphere election, Scott Galloway, who I know you brothers know who he is, he made the point right after the elections in 24. He made the point to Anderson Cooper on CNN that the manosphere election came out for Donald Trump. And he made the point that when Donald Trump listened to his youngest son is Barron Trump. Yep. And Barron Trump, this is, by the way, you can look this up for yourself. Wall Street Journal talks about this. It's a matter of public record. Barron Trump said, listen, Dad, you want to get with the brothers, the bros, if you will, are doing podcasts. That's where you want to reach young men. That's where they are. So Donald Trump listened to his son, went to all the bro podcasts, all the white podcasts, and he culminated with Joe Rogan. According to Scott Galloway at the time, that one podcast, and he was there for 3 hours. That's how Joe Rogan does. You sit there and you talk for 3 hours. That one podcast got Donald Trump over 60 million views. Yep. And that's what did it. That's what put him over the top with the election. So your point, Jeffrey St. And we know that the Democrat Party has spent $20 million in trying to get men back into the party. We know that. We know that. That's a matter of public record.
This is the kicker. If they spent tens of millions of dollars, if money's unaccounted for with the election campaign situation, if influencers and people were getting paid off to do 20-second speeches to talk about her, if why would you not assume that there's some type of nefarious money going on? We see what's happening in Minneapolis right now. So y'all think all these platforms is popping up over the last 2 years that's liberal and Democrat that nobody was really checking for like that? All of a sudden now come on, y'all, wake up. They're just like the artists of today that can't sing, that aren't that talented, but keep getting put in your face over and over and keep getting hits made for them. There's now podcasters, influencers who are getting checks for the liberal Democratic establishment, and half of them, they're not saying things. I can understand FD Signifier getting that check if they're even sending one his way, which you're probably not. At least I can understand that. Most people that are now getting these big opportunities are nothing like FD Signifier. They don't have the back.
I agree, but you even said that Barron Trump said to his father, Donald Trump, to go on these podcasts. That's the free advertising. The way Kamala competes is either interview with those same people, she wasn't going to do that, or throw money around at celebrities. Huh? Like, that's number one. Number two, the AstroTurf isn't exclusive to the left. The AstroTurf, the money coming from elites is not exclusive. Do y'all, for those of you that don't know, apparently the leader of that little slice of Europe in the Middle East over there, he said to CK, hey, I got money for you, player. Come over here, come kiss the wall, and I got money for you. He only did that because it usually works. Huh? He only said that and did that because it usually works. The AstroTurf money, remember, what's his name? Tim, oh, I forgot his name. Y'all know who I'm talking about, the skateboarder dude that stays with the beanie. And I don't know, watched some of this dude stuff before, but anyway, apparently when that Laura Chin Russian money came through, what he said was, I didn't think it was Russian. I just thought it was a big money donor from the US, a billionaire that just wanted me to speak a certain way. Come on, Tim Pool, thank you. Thank you, Earl. Tim Pool. If I'm not mistaken, it was him that said that. Come on now. That AstroTurf big money is not exclusively a left thing. I'm about getting money out of politics. I said this a little while ago. Big money out of politics. What does that mean, Z? That doesn't mean you literally take money out of politics. What that does mean is you don't have these big private or corporate donors. The money comes through our taxes. And it's a set amount every election. And if we catch you taking a penny from outside of whatever this money we decided you gonna campaign on, that's your ass. You automatically disqualified and you might go to jail. Huh? That's why I'm about getting money out of politics, because you get stuff like this. I said it before, say it again, Z. I posted when the right got caught up with this. I posted when the left got caught up with this. Because it's not one party. And y'all really ain't seen nothing yet. Because if you think these major elections is where the money is all type of weird and who's donating to what, you don't want to see some of these small time elections. Your local municipalities, you don't want to see who's funding what and how. So just saying. Continuing.
And the point about the manosphere election, Scott Galloway, who I know you brothers know who he is, he made the point right after the elections in 24. He made the point to Anderson Cooper on CNN that the manosphere election came out for Donald Trump. And he made the point that when Donald Trump listened to his youngest son is Barron Trump. Yep. And Barron Trump, this is, by the way, you can look this up for yourself. Wall Street Journal talks about this. It's a matter of public record. Barron Trump said, listen, Dad, you want to have to get with the brothers, the bros, if you will, are doing podcasts. That's where if you want to reach young men, that's where they are. So Donald Trump listened to his son, went to all the white podcasts, and he culminated with Joe Rogan. According to Scott Galloway at the time, that one podcast, and he was there for 3 hours. That's how Joe Rogan does. You sit there and you talk for 3 hours. That one podcast got Donald Trump over 60 million views. Yep. And that's what did it. That's what put him over the top with the election. So your point, Jeffrey St. John, and we know that the Democrat Party has spent $20 million in trying to get men back into the party. We know that. We know that. That's a matter of public record.
This is the kicker. If they spent tens of millions of dollars, if money's unaccounted for with the election campaign situation, if influencers and people were getting paid off to do 20-second speeches to talk about her, if why would you not assume that there's some type of nefarious money going on? We see what's happening in Minneapolis right now. So y'all think all these platforms is popping up over the last 2 years that's liberal and Democrat that nobody was really checking for like that? All of a sudden now they
Jeff St. James, you don't want to talk about nefarious money. It ain't gonna be pretty
today that can't sing, that aren't that talented, but keep getting put in your face over and over and keep getting hits made for them. There's now podcasters, influencers who are getting checks for the liberal Democratic establishment, and half of them, they're not saying things. I can understand FD Signifier getting that check if they're even sending one his way, which you're probably not. At least I can understand that. Most people that are now getting these big opportunities are nothing like FD Signifier. They don't have the background. They don't have the pedigree. He's about to finish getting his, I think his PhD.
Oh, he's finally going to do it.
Yeah, I think, actually, I mean, he was, let me take that back. He was close to being done. He was in
he dropped out. That I do know.
Right.
Yeah.
So the point I'm making is you understand the caliber of somebody that can get access to those type of big ass guests. You ain't just pop a camera up and all of a sudden you whatever. And what I'm basically saying is I'm watching really big platforms get really big guests, and I'm not impressed with the person who's hosting it. There's a major disconnect.
You know, there was an album, and I'm telling on my age here because I'm the senior man here. There was an album by an outfit called Public Enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you may have heard of it. Public Enemy, a rap group in the 90s. Their second album, their first album was Yo Bum Rush the Show, came out 40 years ago. Their second effort came out a couple years later, called It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. And it had on the cover Chuck D and Flavor Flav in jail, okay, behind bars. And it said there, it takes a nation of millions to hold us back.
Mm.
That's what makes me think about the black manosphere. I'm thinking about this. The manosphere in general, when you got the white side of it, I'm talking on the black side. If they're going to these lengths to keep us from getting the word out, brother, they got Kevin passed away.
Mm-hmm.
They banned me from YouTube. You got a situation that you deal with. It's so intense, you can't even discuss it at the moment, Jeff.
Yep.
You've been attacked, Darwin. They've tried to cancel the Black Manosphere Conclave on several occasions, try to have it canceled. I mean, it just goes to show you the lengths to which they're going to try to kill this thing.
Mm-hmm.
That says something to me. Because like you said, we don't have, millions of dollars and all that sort of thing, and politicians and policymakers and this and that. We don't have all of that at our disposal. I mean, we're working it out like the Taliban in Afghanistan in the mountains somewhere with some AK-47s and a couple grenades. That's what we working with, like the Viet Cong or something.
Mm-hmm.
Going up against the strongest military in the world. Okay, that's the analogy there. We the Taliban working it out with a couple rifles. It's telling me, what is it about us that they're willing to go to such lengths to try to shut the whole thing down?
I'm gonna tell you this, man. If you were truly irrelevant and if you didn't have an impact, you wouldn't even be acknowledged at all. So the thing that you guys have been doing for a while, and I know you're like, oh, we're bringing truth, we're waking men up. I don't think you know truly what that means for a system that's predicated on men staying asleep and women being propped up in the positions that they are. This system
I agree.
is the system that is designed and thrives off of division, off of female-led households and communities. Knowing that female emotions can be manipulated and utilized for advertisers to the way in which they do. Knowing that women are much more susceptible not only to propaganda, but also to what Helen Andrews discussed in terms of the dynamics, even in the workplace and in certain environments, they are more susceptible to giving in to social pressure. So if you can empower the women and condition them and control them, you can dictate society. So when women's tricks, schemes, and the law, it's starting to not be as effective anymore because men are moving different. They're not putting themselves, not all of them are putting themselves in the legal obligations that the law can have access to them. A lot of men are slowing down. More women, black women are having children than men. Many of the black men are starting to date out. They're going to still do life with women, but they just might not get married. Men are now adjusting to the market. So as a result, the leverage that was artificially created for women is now dissipating. And the more and more that men are, putting people on game, saying this stuff, the more it's a threat. Because now what's going to happen is I'm going to make a prediction, man, and y'all both can tell me what y'all honestly think. I won't be shocked between now and 2028 if there's a continued hemorrhaging amongst the feminist crowd and amongst liberals within the black community.
Oh, no doubt about it. Not only are you
it's
right.
going to be like Gen Z right now. Everybody was talking about Gen Z being the split between men and women, young boys and young girls in terms of politically being a split. I think there's going to be a massive split in the black community in the next 2 to 2.5 years.
Well, not only are you right, as a matter of fact, you can look this up, Darwin. The Mystery Night, right before Halloween, 2024, NPR did a piece called Diving into the Black Manosphere. My name came up. Kevin Samuel's name came up. My name came up. And what they said about, and of course, they said what they said about Kevin. And then they got to me, and they said this brother is responsible for helping other brothers come out of the political closet. Okay? Out of the closet of the Republican. Now, remember what FD Signifier said on that tape? He's a Republican. Remember that? So,
yeah. No, we're going to play. I was just positioning. My bad. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah. Remember what he said? That talking about Kevin. He's a Republican. That piece on the NPR website, diving into the Black Manosphere, they talk about how the Black Manosphere is seen as a generator, I guess you could say, of Black Republican thought and that's a danger to black politics. That's the danger to the Democrat Party, because these are brothers, and they mentioned me, that are getting brothers, to come out of the conservative closet, so to speak, and to kind of go to the right. So that we've seen since Trump's ascendancy to the presidency a decade ago, we've seen black men's support for him rise each election cycle. It gets higher and higher and higher. And I think what you said, Jeff, is that we're going to see that continue to, it's not going to go back. He's going to go forward.
Bro, see, people are not, what I'm basically saying is the shaming tactics are now not as effective as they were 5-8 years ago. You're now seeing men starting to share this stuff more.
I agree.
You're now starting to see this men own up to it. You're now seeing men not accepting bad behavior in their actual everyday lives. Now you see men rewarding women who are actually feminine, who are.
Okay, so to Jeff St. James and to Obsidian, I would posit to y'all, both of you, that no, black young men they're gonna stay at home. They're gonna stay on the couch. It's gonna be couch 2028. If and when Trump, it's supposed to be now, he should be termed out, but they're trying to figure out if he can run a third time and see what laws they could flip. I don't know. I don't see it, but I think they stay home. Like the majority of Americans. Oops. Y'all forgot the majority of voting Americans are non-voters? I think what you will have is an increasing amount of young men, black men, who stay home. Not vote Republican, but stay home. Huh? They're disenchanted with the Democratic Party, and they not going to vote for the Republican Party. The Democrats are racist as hell, and the Republicans are racist as hell. They're not going to jump from this plantation to that plantation. A few will, most won't. Especially when they lose the bravado and the charisma and the antics of Donald Trump, and now we back to cookie cutter politics, or people that are trying to be entertaining. No, they're gonna stay their ass home. Huh? That's number one. Number two, they're not drifting back. Look, we'll see how incorrect or correct I am in the matter of 3 years. We will see. But Obsidian and Jeff St. James and Darwin, I would once again caution us to not think this is permanent. To not think this is permanent. There's been a bunch of greasy talk about black people, black men from the Democrats. There's been a lot of greasy talk from Democrats towards black men in particular. But let's not forget how a lot of Republican politicians have spoken of black people. It's going to be real difficult. It's going to be real difficult to pull black men with your standard issue cookie cutter Republican candidate. So, yeah, I forgot what I was going to say to that second part. It was something that Obsidian said that I wanted to catch. But I agree that, yeah. That's what I was going to say. Obsidian, they are correct about black men going right, hurting the Democratic Party and hurting the black vote, because the black vote matters because how many of us vote in the same direction in aggregate. They are correct. I'm about saying and so, and what are you offering? They're not incorrect about that. They are 100% correct. The black vote matters because some upwards of 80 some odd percent when Barack Obama was running, 90 some odd percent of black folks vote in the same direction. And so, yeah, it's only 12, 13-ish percent, give or take, of the vote, but it's 12-ish, 13% of the vote. And 80 some odd, anywhere between 80 and 90% vote in the same direction. So they're right. If you start hemorrhaging black men's vote, which increasingly is the wedge vote, then you got a problem, because just about all people of color are somewhere around the 60-40 split line, Democrat to Republican. A little bit more for certain more conservative groups, a little bit less, or better yet, a little bit less for certain more conservative groups, a little bit more for certain liberal groups. But everyone's around that, give or take 70 some odd, 30 some odd percent, or 60 some odd, 40 some odd percent. We're talking about race and ethnicity right now. Black people are the one group for the Democrats that come out at upwards of 80 some odd percent. And when Barack Obama was running 90 some odd percent. They're correct. Right? This is when you leverage that vote. Hey, look, if the Republicans are offering something, I'm about telling black men, hey, go over there. But if they're just offering narrative about being a real man, and they're not facilitating the environment for that, then you got a problem. Because I would argue that is what's going on here. Okay, we got a ban on baby deletions. Okay. And what else? Huh? Ban on baby deletions, cool. Huh? Demoting certain degrees that the right thinks are frivolous. Okay, cool. Implementing as much of Project 2025 as humanly possible. Damn, they're book burning a bunch of black books. Might have a problem there. Shredding DEI, which wasn't benefiting black men like that anyway. Okay. But what positive have black men necessarily benefited from? I mean, we still got 3-ish years left, so that's true. But that's something to think of. And let me read this from Arena Revised now. And Arena Revised says, and thank you for the super chat, Paul Elam, white conservative, ran a voice for men, but always rejected associating party politics with men's issues. Obsidian and I were editors. Yeah, I've heard of Paul Elam. Yeah, so I'm not against black men having being affiliated with whatever political party, especially when your goal is the upliftment of black men in specific, black boys and black men in specific. And whichever party you think does less harm, and you might be able to get to flick a couple of crumbs off, maybe a slice, I don't see it, but maybe a slice of bread, then cool. But if they're just offering rhetoric, you might have a problem. And maybe you're okay with just rhetoric. Maybe you were doing well enough in life where all you need is to be diddled. Huh? You just want some acknowledgement and some words that sound good. A few of us are okay. A few of us are so okay financially that all we want is to be acknowledged and have some words of affirmation. Damn, Z, that sounds real weird. That sounds like some leftist talk. I know. But you're saying some of these brothers that's what they want on the right. I think some of these black folks want this on the left and the right. I think some of these black folks are Holly Berry in Monsters Ball. Just make me feel good. Huh? No harm reduction, no policies, just make me feel good. Huh? So yeah, Arena Revive, yeah, you know, when I entered the Black Manosphere, when I started producing content, I appreciated where I stood politically, and I understood where many of us, the majority, what it seems, stood politically. And I've rarely ever mentioned it, or I don't have a problem with it. But every once in a while, when we start getting into our bag and we start doing the real man or over here talk, are you sure about that? You mean the ones that's log cabin Republicans? Log cabin Republicans? Emphasis on the log part, pun intended? No? Huh? Not the party that's out here crashing Grinder. Huh? Nah, Saint Sir, ain't no pause. Huh? So once we start doing that, then Mr. Z gonna respond. But other than that, I don't really have I don't, you know, and I could see the brothers going through it. You could see it on his face, and Obsidian made mention of whatever he's going through. So, you know, let's take that into consideration. That's mainly why I'm not going at Jeff St. James. I appreciate that he is trying to do something greater than just talking BS. I get it. And you can see like there's something. I'm pretty sure he's not gonna. He can't talk about it right now, as Obsidian said. So whatever he's going through, Mr. Z standing with him. But that whole the real man over here, and there's something to be said. I don't know why I didn't mention this earlier about the right's version of postmodernism. I'm gonna have to do that stream. I've been talking about it for years. And I'm going to probably use the three examples that first come to mind. Yvette Carnell versus Dr. Boyce Watkins, PBD versus Roland Martin, Ben Shapiro versus Ezra Klein, and Ben Shapiro versus what's his name over there. So actually, it's more than three examples that came to mind. Versus what's his name? Andrew Neil. Yeah, Andrew Neil in the UK. And Tucker Carlson versus damn, I just had his name too because somebody said his name for me in the comments. Tucker Carlson versus, I want to say Andrew Breivik, but that's what's his name. Rutger Bregman. What? Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Out of, is he out of Norway? He might be out of Norway, but yeah, these, and I'm mentioning these. I'm gonna just quick comment, maybe not that quick. I'm mentioning these to say what you see is the Ben Shapiro's of the world and the right, but Ben Shapiro in particular have this idea, and they say this: facts don't care about your feelings, right? And they love to tout how much they're fact-based and evidence-based, and then you put their back to the wall, or you find that one sore spot, pun intended. You find that one thing that, yeah, F your facts. And you see how quick they get into postmodern talk. You see how quick they start trying to throw up smoke screens, but you still going at him. Wait a minute, huh? And you saw that with Ezra Klein and Ben Shapiro. You saw that with Roland Martin and PBD. You saw that with Yvette Carnell and Boyce Watkins. These people either blow up or they eventually say, okay, why does that matter? Ooh. I thought we were talking about facts and history and data and stats and how we got here. And all of a sudden you're telling me, why would I want to talk about that? Why does that matter? Why should we bring that up? We shouldn't even teach that. Oh. And yes, PBD said that to Roland Martin about black people being offered less for their homes than white folks simply because they're black folks. Yes, PBD told Roland Martin that. Yes, Boyce Watkins said that to Yvette Carnell about this kind of mythical, magical CEO entrepreneurship is going to save the black community. Not just being a business owner, Mr. Z's not against black people having a business, black people expanding a business, black people having more than one location, black people becoming millionaires off of their business, possibly billionaires, you never know. But yeah, when Yvette walked Boyce Watkins down, yes, Boyce Watkins said that. Same thing with Ezra Klein. Huh? Same thing with Ezra Klein, what Ezra Klein did to Ben Shapiro. Ezra Klein essentially got Ben Shapiro to say, okay, why would you even want to teach black boys that? Why would you want to teach black kids, black boys that? Oh! So you're not actually about teaching history. You're about using history as propaganda to shape narratives and worldviews. Like we all knew it already, but thank you for admitting it. Huh? Yeah. Huh. So no, the left doesn't have a monopoly on postmodern think. Huh? Shout out to you, Dr. Jordan Peterson. All that sound good until you put their back to the wall. Y'all forgot Jordan Peterson, Dr. Jordan Peterson, that word versus 20? When folks get overwhelmed or when they're in their feelings, that includes on the right, you see how quick their feelings don't care about the facts. Huh? Ben Shapiro said facts don't care about your feelings until you're witnessing it right now with Ben Shapiro. Too many folks are talking about that little slice of Europe over there, the little slice of Europe in the Middle East, including on the right. Too many folks are critiquing their government over there and how they're moving and operating and how much U.S. tax dollars are going over there. And what happened? Ben Shapiro, all of that facts don't care about your feelings stuff, all that's out the window. What happened? Huh? Yeah. So all these people with their stern face, and they're very factual when they talk, and they're so assertive when they're talking. They're so sure of themselves when they talk. Huh? And they speak with authority. And then you start talking about that one thing that matters to them the most, that they don't care what the facts got to say, the history got to say, and you see how quickly they become the same people they were critiquing. They become that same character. Huh? Yeah, you damn right. Huh? So once again, Arena Revised, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And actually, let's read the next one. And the Arena Revised says, the biggest AstroTurf influencer bag comes from the little slice of Europe and the Middle East, associated oligarch class. Daily Wire, anyone? Nothing grassroots about them. Yeah, no, these people be getting big money, especially when they first start up. They get big money infusion. Whether it's Fox News, whether, like you said, the Daily Wire. Did we forget, like, how they Daily Wire and them took Candace Owens under their wing? CK and Ben Shapiro, but particularly CK. And what did Candace Owens say when folks started getting on her about critiquing that little slice of Europe in the Middle East? And someone in her Twitter thread said, "I don't see them going at you like this when you critiquing black people." And she said, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm encouraged to talk crazy about black people." Yeah. Z, you didn't have to say yeah that long. You sound like Jeezy. True. Still, what happened? AstroTurf money, yeah. And you write about the Adelsons also. Huh? Shout out to the Arena Revise. It's not just APAC. Guys like Oxman and the Adelsons. Now his widow. Yeah. He passed. Write direct checks. Yeah. Yep. Right. And then rumor has it that the super pedo dude had connections to one of the former leaders of that little slice of Europe in the Middle East. They were really close. Just saying. That AstroTurf money is serious. And there's a conversation to be had about whether campaign donations from big moneyed interest is an AstroTurf money. Ooh. I mean, are we just categorizing it differently, but doesn't it still have the same effect? Huh? That's a real question. Anyway, and thank you for the super chat. The Arena Revised, thank you for the super chat. And a split gem says, listening whilst, not listening whilst in the office. Great insight so far. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And I don't really want to go at Jeff St. James. I could see it on his face, man. I could see it. He's going through it. He's going through it right now. I could see it. Like Obsidian said, he can't talk about it cool, but he going through it. I could see it. Right? Right. So shout out to Jeff St. James. Once again, I'm just disagreeing with him on certain things politically. Right. Especially the idea that, and he didn't say this directly, but that the right has some type of monopoly on manhood and masculinity. Like, Z got them names for your ass. Huh? I don't know about that. And scenarios too. Right? So, yeah, but other than that, look, I'm not trying to go at him, especially, with whatever he's going through right now. Yeah, or Obsidian. Once again, we got to be careful with this idea that the right isn't corrupt also. Both parties are corrupt. Huh? Both parties are corrupt. Big time corrupt. Not even little time. I can't even tell you one party is more corrupt than the other. I mean big time corrupt. Huh? Y'all don't see what Jared Kushner pulling all around the world right now? Trump lining his pockets right now. Allegedly. That's on the right. Then on the left, That whole Clean Foundation, man. You want to talk about bribe money? Allegedly. Huh? You want to talk about bribe money? Oh. So, something to think about, right? Whether it's Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, George H.W. Bush, George W. Bush, Biden, Trump, Obama, there's some real corrupt things. Dude, wife was saying, just say no to drugs. This dude was the biggest drug dealer on the planet. Going after drug dealers while being the biggest drug dealer on the planet. Huh? Just saying. Huh? Dude posing in front of a goddamn jail with a bunch of inmates. And then there's a couple of people that disappeared around the time you became president. Don't put it in the comments. Don't put it in the comments. I'm just saying. Huh? Just saying. There's a few people that went missing for you to become president. Well, that's happened a couple of times, actually, for a couple of different presidents. But, huh? Just saying, y'all supposed to be we have one party that's supposed to be the family values party and the wholesome party. But then whenever they have a convention, not only is Grindr crashing, same-sex loving dating app, but then apparently y'all be having goddamn triple X parties around. Huh? Apparently women be getting finger blasted in front of everybody. I'm just saying. And the Arena Revised says, for the collection plate, the Arena Revised. And thank you, brother. Thank you. All right. Somebody tell me I'm lying. Huh? Middle of COVID, AOC's from New York. They super masked up. She come down to Florida, no mask. Just saying. These people are full of crap. Oh, y'all thought Mr. Z didn't know about that? Yes, I knew about it. Huh? And once again, thank you for the super chat. The Arena Revised, thank you for the super chat. So I make mention of these things because, we know. And that's what I'm saying. And Saint Cyr says, real freaked out, those morals though, exactly. And he says, not judging though, not judging. But that's the thing, like, I'm not judging, but I'm saying you're the one who claimed this though. Like, if you're the one who claim it, you're trying to indict me for not moving that way or talking that way or acting that way or not being white. Oops. But then you get caught up with your own standard and morals. That's the thing. I don't care. But you're trying to judge me off of not moving how you're not moving. You claiming the thing, you're judging me off of not moving the way you supposedly do. Then we find out you're not even moving the way you purport to move. You're not speaking, acting, and conducting yourself the way you're judging me. Huh? That's why we make fun of that. And the Arena Revised says, and thank you for the super chat, watch the backlash if conservative brothers start carping too loud about disrespect for our 2A rights. Hashtag Philando Castile, hashtag Laura Butcher, Bratcher, and Keith Porter. Yeah, Keith Porter. I don't know about that middle name. I don't know if I followed that story. I don't think so. Right. And thank you for that. But you're right about that. The Arena Revised. And that was a topic of conversation with Philando Castile. I remember that because I remember black gun rights folks being like, where are y'all? But these folks are much like their granddaddy Reagan. Huh? When Reagan was governor of California during the height of the Black Panthers, when they ran up to Sacramento with their arms, Reagan and the NRA got together and said, yeah, nah, we just gonna have to rewrite these laws. These folks don't mean it concerning black folks, black men in specific. I just made mention of Marco Rubio going over to Europe and telling them, hey, look, man, we share the same culture. Look, we want y'all to ride with us. We just telling you, if you ain't riding with us, we don't have no problem leaving you behind. He said Western a million times. I told y'all, whenever you hear Western, it means white. Whenever white folks start saying Western, they mean white. Western is a euphemism for white. How many times you gonna say it? See, white. Huh? And if you doubt me, when he said we share the same culture, we're the children of Europe, he's not talking about you, black people. You're not the children of Europe. For all of you that doubt what I'm saying, I'm just saying. If I'm so wrong, are you the children of Europe? Okay, then. Huh? And thank you for the super chat, Arena Revised. Thank you for the super chat. Right. So let's play that last portion from Jeff St. James and Obsidian and Darwin. And shout out to Darwin. Shout out to Darwin. Darwin does some good work, actually. I need to shout him out. Darwin does some pretty good work, actually, also. So continuing.
Maybe some of those people that don't mean you very well might be double X instead of XY. Then what? Why is there so much where's my thing at? Why is there so much agita about this little blue book? Why is there so much? Why is there so much agita about this little blue book? Why?
Man, you said it when you and me had met me about the fact that the gender war didn't even exist until men started opening their mouth and talking, right? So again, feminization, and Helen Andrews alluded to this, in a feminized environment, it's built on consensus, group cohesion, consensus. So when somebody says something that goes against the narrative of the group, they're now seen as a threat, as a problem. So as a man, when you enter into this space and start doing this stuff, you guys have been experiencing this long before me. You're called every name in the book. They're trying to figure out how to get in between you and your significant other. You're trying to figure out how to cut down on your resources or access to being able to your streams of income. It's the reason why I say that it's a feminization culture is because they've been going at this at least 70s, 80s of a world where as they got more rights, as they got more privileges, as they got more access to everything that they think they needed and wanted, they simultaneously also wanted men to be quiet, for men to be submissive. They preferred, on paper, they wanted happy wife, happy life. So this is why.
Happy wife, happy life. On paper, they wanted happy wife, happy life. And we actually do have evidence of that.
I miss when men used to protect, provide, and shut up.
Yeah, we actually do have evidence of that. Oh no, Z!
As a man, if you don't have house core job, don't look for a woman with house core job. And for the men that complain about women that do that, look for a man that has all three, and they don't have all three. We can do that. We are women. You want us. You need us. Y'all want one thing from us. And mad because we boss y'all around because you're a fucking servant. You're a provider, right? You're a protector, right? You're a security guard and you're a goddamn assistant. Know your place. Stop being contradicting. And bow down. Because I'm sick of it.
Just saying. Huh? Shout out to Jeff St. James. He is definitely correct on that one. We got way too many women talking like that.
What if black women were supposed to be the leaders and black men are just supposed to protect with their muscles and use their listening ears and carry out instructions?
Huh? Just saying. So, Jeff St. James ain't pulling that out of nowhere. Continuing. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Oh, shout out to the replay gang again. Thank you button. Hype button.
Maybe some of those people that don't mean you very well might be double X instead of XY. Then what? Why is there so much where's my thing at? Why is there so much agita about this little blue book? Why is there so much? Why is there so much agita about this little blue book? Why?
Oh, man. You said it when you and me had met me about the fact that the gender war didn't even exist until men started opening their mouth and talking, right? So again, feminization, and Helen Andrews alluded to this, in a feminized environment, it's built on consensus, group cohesion, consensus. So when somebody says something that goes against the narrative of the group, they're now seen as a threat, as a problem. So as a man, when you enter into this space and start doing this stuff, you guys have been experiencing this long before me. You're called every name in the book. They're trying to figure out how to get in between you and your significant other. They're trying to figure out how to cut down on your resources or access to being able to your streams of income. It's the reason why I say that it's a feminization culture is because they've been going at this at least 70s, 80s of a world where as they got more rights, as they got more privileges, as they got more access to everything that they think they needed and wanted, they simultaneously also wanted men to be quiet, for men to be submissive. On paper, they wanted happy wife, happy life. So this is why when we say, well, what do you bring to the table? Me bring something. What are you talking about? Like, that's what they've been conditioned to. So when you've been conditioned to this way from pop psychology, from social media, from the internet, from you name it, this is what happens. You know how bad it is when all you got to do is ask them, what is it that black women should be doing better? What is it? And who should be allowed to tell them that? When they don't have answers to those things, those answers are very superficial. Flip the question and watch them give you a dictionary. That means that they're used to a world where only women can be critics and they can't be critiqued.
One-way aggression. Kevin talked about that. One-way aggression. There's only one way.
One-way standards, one-way boundaries, one-way expectations. So there is no standard. There is no behavior that a woman could do in her past to justify why you say she's not marriage material. That's how they excuse all their behaviors. Feminism, shout out to Miss Anita, man, that said that feminism has done an amazing job of tricking women to separate their minds from their bodies. If I can convince you to separate how you're supposed to think and your mind with what you're doing with your body, shame no longer needs to exist because you ain't got to think about it. There's no consequences for how you move, how many kids you popping out with how many men. So all Kevin was saying is there's real world consequences for the choices and decisions y'all are making. And this is how your image is looking bad. And it is a competition, whether y'all want to say there is no competition or not. And while you're lying to yourselves and claiming there's no competition, the competition started in college. So when he's putting them on game, but all of society before they got into contact with him was telling them they're the prize, and men that don't see it that way and men that have standards are evil and vindictive and misogynistic, now you get to a space where the only men that are allowed to have a voice are the ones that sound like women in those type of rooms.
As we saw on that tape.
So when I've said all along that it's not that they hate men per se, they just like effeminate ones. They like liberal ones. They'll accept those. Those are the safe ones in their worldview. It's the men that tell them what they want to hear. This is why they buy the tickets. This is why they go to the live shows. So Kevin was obviously, he was charismatic. He had style. He had flair. He was exciting and interesting. But for every woman that understood what he was coming from, there were countless others that were attempting to derail everything that he was trying to address. So I get it. I understand it. It's just unfortunate that years later, we're looking in a room of black men doing what the CIA and white supremacy doesn't have to anymore.
And your point about the Call Her Daddy, for those that don't know, Call Her Daddy is a podcast with white woman. The reason why my brother Jeff brings that up, back when Kamala Harris was running for president of the United States, the Democrat Party gave her a lot of money to go on the various media outlets, and one of them was Call Her Daddy. My understanding, Jeff, was Call Her Daddy was extant prior to Kamala's run for president. They just didn't pop up afterward. They were around, but they were very small. And that when she ran for president, they infused something like 150 grand into the Call Her Daddy podcast. That's my understanding of it. I could have that wrong, but they infused a lot of cash, okay, for her to go on there. And she went on there, and as they say, the rest is history. Point being, I think that you're onto something here, brother
They're
Jeff.
propping. They're propping. Listen, if y'all don't know the game by now, if y'all didn't find out what's happening with USAID, they're using tax dollars and campaign donations
to try to counter the Black Manosphere. Yeah,
it's not. Yeah, in general, they're propping up liberal podcasts to make them appear more relevant to the population than they actually are. Right. This is why most liberal comedians are
careful with that, Jeff St. James.
You know,
that's
like,
not only on the left.
They're not super. Like, all I'm basically getting at is there's a level of we have to question what we see now. We can't just assume the music the last 20 years is going down the drain. Everybody that got a music deal ain't a great singer. Everybody that got a big platform, that don't mean that they're actually connecting with the audience. And if they're into politics and they're getting political people to come to their platform, and then when you listen to them, like, how did they get that? Are they super charismatic? Are they really well learned? Or did they are they a specialist at something? Or did they get the kickbacks like many others did when they did those softball interviews for these political figures?
I agree with him on that. The kickbacks on the political figures. So I agree with him on that. But that big money from I just mentioned CK earlier. Where did CK get that money, that startup money from? I'm not talking about towards the end of his life. I'm talking about in the beginning. Where did he get? He was a college dropout. Where did he get the startup money from? Huh? We know who was bankrolling Ben Shapiro. We know some of that money came from his dad. Come on now. Candace Owens told you they was chipping her off to sell out black people. Amazing Lucas pretty much told you the same thing. Uh-oh. Huh? So, just something to think about. Number one. Number two, I don't agree with Jeff St. James that these women like effeminate or feminized men. I think women toss the vagina at whoever, whenever, however. Not particularly effeminate or feminized men. I think they toss the box out like candy when they want to, and then they really strict with it when they want to with whatever man. With that, do they prefer a feminized or effeminate man? No, I wouldn't argue that. I think they like using those men as a rhetorical weapon against us. I think that's why Melissa Ford mentioned Jam. Someone else mentioned them also too. Another woman mentioned them. Who else? It was another black woman who mentioned them. I can't get the name out. But another black woman mentioned them. You seen FD on them because they're trying to prop them up and say, "This is where young men. This is where you're supposed to be listening. This is what you're supposed to be on." It's the same thing they tried to do with Deontay. Huh? As I said before, FD Signifier is trying to build his own version of the Black Manosphere, the Injustice League. He's trying to build his own version over there of palatable, air quotes, non-offensive, black men. And what Jam represents is young black men who are anti-red pill, anti-Black Manosphere. But they're really using that as a rhetorical weapon against us and to hopefully pull some eyeballs and views away from the Black Manosphere. Huh? And as consciously said on that podcast the other day, or that table talk the other day, by the time they get to them, they're just some weird woke dudes. No, they're trying to run ahead of us. And I said this before. They're trying to run ahead of us and make us the weird, sexist, misogynistic, misogynorist, huh? Weirdo uncles. Unfortunately for them, these young men are going to have experiences with girls. What they're attempting to do, that's going to be the hard part. And I already know what the goal is. They want to have these young men see women in life a certain way, so that when these girls that are women or that will become women rip them apart, either in high school or in college or after college, post college, when those young women rip them apart, the conscious Lees and the FDs of the world, the foreign mans of the world, the Alvins of the world, Alvin from Waving the Red Flag, would have already gotten to them and be like, wait. She's probably going to break your heart. She's probably going to rip you apart. She's probably going to cheat on you. She might do foodie call. You might get married. She might divorce you. She might take the kids. But I need you to, wait. I need you to understand. Maybe you did something wrong. And there you go. Huh? Oh boy. Yeah, she told you no 5 and 10 years ago. She made fun of you. She mocked you. But entertain her and that 1 or 2 kids she has. 3. Those 1 or 2 kids she has from that other man or men. 10 years later, what's wrong with that? Huh? Oh boy. So, and I'm awful says, and thank you for the super chat. Did they dox the brother? And I know she meant not Kevin James, but Jeff St. James or something? Maybe, right? And like that, yeah, possibly. I'm thinking that too. Yeah. So yeah, y'all. So that's the end of that. And we getting out before 3 hour mark. But yeah, so I just wanted to come to y'all with this. Shout out to Jeff St. James. It looked like he going through it right now. Shout out to him. Um, Best wishes. Hopefully, he could get over whatever it is. And I think I'm leaning towards what you're saying, I'm waffles, and it might be affecting him obviously financially. Um, and that's how these people play the game, right? That's how they play the game. Is they play the game dirty. They play the game dirty because you're not supposed to talk unless you kissing their ass. Unless you're regurgitating whatever the hell they talking about. I wanted to show that I'm a sensible brother on the left, but I appreciate that look on Jeff St. James' face. I get it. These folks play dirty. They really are on some, we're morally superior, we're on the right side of history. How dare you not back us up in our misandry? I didn't mean it like that. What I meant to say was, why are you over here just, the young men are going to get the wrong impression, and why we have so much crap on our back? Why are you critiquing us this way? And you're making it seem like we're bad people. And huh? Exactly. And the reader advises that's why the majority of us remain anonymous unless we go into content full time. There you go. And your safety, your money, because you never know. these kind of weirdo dudes, one of these dudes on a send-off mission, you're at your place of employment and you get sucker punched or something, right? And that's like maybe best case scenario. People run up on you, people try to embarrass you in front of your family, or God forbid, try to harm someone close to you. Yeah, then people play dirty. They play dirty. Find out where your wife work, harass her. That's your husband? Find out where your lady work. That's your boyfriend? You agree with him? Oh, you a pick me? Whatever he do to you, that's what you get. These are the women that wish that your lady leaves you so they can laugh at you, or they wish that you do something to your lady so they can laugh at her. See, look, he all that manosphere stuff, all that man stuff. Look, hey, look what he did to her. Huh? Remember, as Jeff St. James said, we're talking about the same folks that danced on Kevin Samuel's grave. You damn right. They will dance on your misfortune and claim it's some type of goddess, or I say goddess, or some type of spiritual practice they into, or some type of God don't like ugly. Meanwhile, they exist. Oops. Right? Low key, Afro Merchant says it could be your own family. Yep, say that. Yeah, I've said that a couple of times. Yeah, and Vince says cosmic justice. Exactly. That's how they do. It's cosmic justice, cosmic justice, cosmic retribution. That's what you get. Type talk. Yeah. Huh? So as the Arena Revive says, that's why we got to be careful out here. Huh? And once again, I'm Waffles. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And the Arena Revive says Alan Obi says he lost marketing work. Wow. Yeah. Come on. They're gonna go after your money. They're gonna call your employer. Y'all forgot how them folks didn't like Dr. Umar Johnson. And were calling his whatever school he went to, and for years they were calling for Dr. Umar Johnson for years. Meanwhile, Cynthia G was online talking about deleting black male babies, deleting unborn black male babies, and it took a white woman to get her the hell up out of here. Excuse me. Huh? It's a number of folks that they went at their employers. I think they did that to Myron. I'm just saying. But anyway, yeah, they did that to Myron too. We're not fans of Myron over here, but yeah, they did that to Myron also from Fresh and Fit. They will call your employer. They will call your people. Huh? And you don't necessarily got to be incendiary necessarily. The fact that you're not kissing their ass and backing up their talking points is enough. The fact that you have any opinion that deviate. Huh? See? Yeah. Well, no. Consciously levied physical threats. And the Arena Revive says consciously and FD laughed about physical threats to Dr. Tommy Curry. Hey, if I remember correctly, the Arena Revive, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Consciously said he wanted to do something physical, no pun, to Dr. Tommy Curry. Because I think apparently he took a class with Dr. Tommy Curry and he didn't like the grade or the way he felt, the way Dr. Tommy Curry was speaking to him or whatever. Yeah. Huh? He said that on an interview with, I want to say he said that on an interview with FD Signifier. Right? So, yeah, them people play dirty. Those people, they play dirty. And shout out to Black Uru, as he said, when it's time to get real, our biggest op are gonna be these men. It's going to be these men because they super mama identified. It's not even really about those women half the time. It's about their mom. They feel like they're defending their mother because they see their mother in these weirdos, these weirdo women. And to answer y'all question, no, there is nothing bad enough the women can do in front of these dudes. A few of them might fall off if they see too many women being wayward, but for the most part, nah, they'll find some way to excuse it. They'll find some way to excuse it. And for the women that decide I'm not gonna be part of that, you're a pick me. And even them dudes will call you pick me. You too male identified. Fundamentally, they have an idea of hierarchy that's not nuanced. They have an idea of get back and who's punching up. They come up with all type of terms to excuse the BS. No, it's different because she's punching up, you're punching down. And it's all these excuses to excuse the BS. Huh? So, on that note, everyone, we will pause right there. I hope I did this justice. We will pause right there. Love, peace, and chicken grease. You're going to check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, for the love of God. Shout out to the replay gang once again. And Mr. Z out. All right, y'all. Well, Kaguru, we right on. Kaguru slid right. Oh man, Kaguru, wait, don't close the door yet. Okay. And Kaguru says, my question to Jeff, Obsidian, and the other dude, Darwin, is who designated them as the standard of masculinity? I don't know if that's where they're going with it. And you know, I'm careful with this. I will say the right doesn't have a monopoly, including the black right. Anything right of center doesn't have a monopoly on manhood and masculinity, as I kept on saying throughout this stream. I don't know if Jeff is trying to claim some type of authority of, you know, deciding who is the standard bearer of masculinity and manhood, or who should be the one deciding. I don't know if he's going there with it. And by the way, Jeff St. James is not the first. As a matter of fact, the first people I started hearing talking like this were white folks. White men and white women, funny enough. That the left is bereft, Mr. Z Ramen. The left is bereft of any man and masculinity and manhood. And it sounds good, and I know it diddles a lot of dudes on the right ego, right? And to the dudes on the right, I want you to know, your chick handed out vagina to everybody, players. Don't think the dudes on the left ain't getting the vagina too. Cut it out. Whatever you have to believe to make yourself feel better. Huh? Dudes on the left are getting the vagina too. Huh? So there's that. Secondly, I can appreciate why dudes on the right, men on the right would want to hear that. It sounds good. Huh? It sounds good. It feels good. Pause. It feels good to, yeah, we're the real men over here. Over there, they're the bunch of pansies and lip rinses. And then the other words I'm not going to say right now. All right? Bunch of manginas over there. Sounds good. That's not how life works. Huh? There's no monopoly on manhood because you're of your political affiliation. Cut it out. Huh? If y'all want to talk about money and physical fitness and lifestyle and status, just saying the blue states are where the money is. The red states got to take money from the federal government. Many of these blue states, not so much. That's where the money is. That's where the larger population is. If money ties into manhood also, I'm just saying a lot of the southern states, the red states especially, just about all the southern states are red states. Anyway, just saying, right? Yeah. So I get what you're saying, Kunguru. I get what you're saying. But yeah. But on that note, once again, y'all, unless look, Mr. Z will take the money. Unless anybody want to hurry up and put a super chat, we gonna end on out. So on that note, everyone, we will pause right here. Once again, shout out to Jeff St. James, brother. I'm with you. Whatever you're going through, just want to put this out there. Disagree with your take on, like you kind of was going to the place where, no, not even kind of. You just pretty much said it. Ain't no men over there, right? So I get it, right? But on that note, everyone, we will pause right there. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content. For the love of God, shout out to Jeff St. James, Obsidian, and Darwin. Great conversation, even the parts I disagreed with. And Mr. Z out. All right, y'all.
You are now listening to Mr. Z Blackneffect.